Chapter 2876. When you arrive at Tongxian Mansion, if he's not too embarrassing, help me visit my former teacher, Qian Renjiv. Alright. I'll definitely help you, Jiang Chen said. Young city lord, aren't you going to Tongxian Mansion too? Although Xueqi is powerful, he's not as talented as you are. I have nothing else to ask for. I just hope that you can promise me one thing. Peace is a blessing. Xueqi said in a low voice. I'm hot-blooded and I want to go to the 9 heavens to catch the moon. It's already dusk before I can cover the crown. I understand now. You're right. Peace is a blessing. Jiang Chen turned around slowly and said in a deep voice. How could he not want to stop? But he couldn't do that. He wanted to ensure that his family and friends wouldn't be harmed in the slightest. He wanted to walk a path that belonged to him alone as an expert. The cloud soared for 90,000 li, daring to compete with the heavens. Everyone has their own ambitions. I don't have any other intentions. I just hope that you can give him a hand on the path of cultivation. I'm satisfied. As long as I'm here, Linha will be here. All right. Jiang Chen didn't look back at Xueqi. This was a gentleman's agreement between the two of them. It was also his promise to Xueqi. However, he didn't say that as long as Jiang Chen is here, Xueqi is here. The green grass by the river and the green algae in the water. They looked up at the snowy mountains and lowered their heads. There was a bamboo forest by the green river. The waves were rippling and the sky and the water were the same color. A boat was sailing on the river. The sound of the jade flute was pleasing to the ear. Spring was in front of them. On the riverbank, birds, beasts, and apes were crying. It added to the rare joy. There was a stretch of green mountains. On one side, there was a snowy mountain. On the other side, there was lush greenery. On the other side, there were maple leaves. On the rippling river, there were koi fish jumping around. They were lively and cheerful. The spiritual beasts on the riverbank were listening to the sound of the jade flute. It was beneficial for one's cultivation to rise. On the bamboo raft, there was a white-clothed lady. Her long hair was like a waterfall and her back was like a fairy. Her figure was slim and graceful. Looking at her from the side, she was already devastatingly beautiful. Her jade-like face was like smoke, fluttering in the wind. Her beautiful eyes flickered with an unconcealable elegance and coldness. There was even a hint of arrogance. It was as if she didn't care about anything in this world. Only the jade flute in her hand could solve her worries. Her jade-like fingers moved slightly. The jade flute spun and the soft sound fluttered. Sometimes it was sweet, sometimes it was joyful, sometimes it was hurried, and sometimes it made people happy. As the sound of the flute moved the sound of the sound of the sound could be heard. The bamboo flute moved in the forest. The woman and the beautiful scene on the river seemed to have merged into one. It was as if she was an indispensable part of this world. He, Big Sister's flute is becoming more and more melodious. Even those little animals are benefiting from it. Most of them have gained intelligence. It's just that I'm unable to listen. On the riverbank, a young girl with a ponytail covered her mouth and giggled. Compared to the peerless elegance of the woman in white, she was not inferior at all. She was like a fairy sent by the heavens. Her black eyes seemed to be able to see through all the filth in this world. Extraordinary and refined, untainted by even a speck of dust. The little girl was petite and looked to be only 13 or 14 years old, but she already had the body of a young girl. His childishness was still there, and his smile was infectious. Even the eyes of the white-clothed woman that was as cold as ice revealed a faint brilliance. However, the girl seemed to have not escaped from the eyes of the secular world, because the purity in her eyes was something that even the white-clothed woman was unwilling to disturb. The girl had her hands on her hips, and when she smiled, 2 deep dimples appeared on her cheeks. She was like a fairy that had been left behind in the mortal world, making people want to love her. Needless to say, when she grew up, she would definitely be a peerless woman who could stir up the world and make all the heroes in the world bow before her. The white-clothed woman was beautiful in her youth, but the ponytail girl was detached from the secular world in front of her eyes. I know that sister must be worried, so I don't want to disturb you. However, I don't want to see sister so upset. Everyone doesn't understand you, but I do. The ponytail girl had a serious expression on her face, and she pouted her mouth. She was extremely cute. The white-clothed woman shook her head. You understand, but you don't understand. Why do you say that? Is sister really going to listen to the arrangements of the sect leader? The ponytail girl said angrily, feeling rather unwilling. Sometimes, people can't live for themselves. The white-clothed woman smiled. But who could understand the helplessness and bitterness at the corner of her mouth? People couldn't just live for themselves. Her existence was even more of a blessing in the misfortune of the sect. Even if she was beautiful and peerless, so what? She would still have her own worries and worries. As long as people were alive, they would have their own happiness, anger, sorrow, and joy. It was impossible for them to be detached from the world. I feel that people should live for themselves. If I do what I want, who dares to stop me? That's what I heard from Big Brother. I know that you must be thinking about him. I miss him too. The ponytail girl pouted her lips and said with tears in her eyes. As she spoke, she almost cried out. The white-clothed woman didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Are you here to persuade me, or do you want me to persuade you? The white-clothed woman's expression darkened, and she sighed with a hint of laziness, filled with the charm of a beauty. I don't know where your big brother is right now. Even if he's here, what can he do? After so many years, he's no longer the same as before. That's right, that's right. But why am I growing so slowly? I was thinking that when Big Brother comes to see me, I want to become like Sister Ling. The ponytail girl pouted her mouth and said. She was you are. The white-clothed woman's identity was obvious. If it wasn't Ling Yun, then who else could have such beauty? But he still didn't come. So, people can't only live for themselves. Ling Yun said faintly and looked towards the north. She could only see white snow. How could there be any trace of hope? I know, but I believe that he will come. He will not abandon you and big sister. Yu said confidently. Don't look back. He might have already left with the wind. Ling Yun said indifferently. No, Big Brother won't die. He's not dead. I know. Yu said furiously. You know? Ling Yun looked at Yu in shock. He's still alive, and he's living well. I believe that one day, I will wait for him. Yu's determination made Ling Yun sigh. Yu was good at everything except her stubborn temper. Whenever Big Brother was mentioned, she would look down on everything and only see Jiang Chen. I know that you like Big Brother. And Big Brother also likes you. Don't worry, he will definitely come to find you. Yu said seriously. Then, she lowered her head and said with grievance. But Big Brother doesn't like Yu. Then Yu turned around and left. She walked into the depths of the bamboo forest alone. Even Ling Yun did not see her. How do you know that Big Brother doesn't like you? But he likes me? Why don't I know? Chapter 2877. Tianxing Boundary. Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect. Maple leaves covered the land as far as the eye could see. Snowy mountains were at the back. Palaces were built in a 900-li radius. A 3,000-li radius encircled the city. An 80,000-li long river flowed through the city. 9 out of the 10 great sects of Tianxing Boundary had come to pay their respects. The leader of the group was clad in green armor. His brows were sharp and his aura was calm, his strength suppressing the crowd. Sect Lord Ling, we have to congratulate your sect this time. That's right, how can we not come to congratulate you? That's right, Sect Lord Ling. We are willing to serve you and bring glory to the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect. Wise men from all over came to congratulate him, but Ling Yanyu couldn't bring himself to smile. Although it seemed like a double blessing, it was the greatest humiliation his Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect had suffered in the past 100,000 years. Ling Yanyu never thought that the person who had the most intense conflict with him would come to his Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect at this moment to propose marriage. Ling Yun's beauty was peerless. Everyone in the Stellar Sky domain knew about her. All the young prodigies had been admiring Ling Yun for a long time, but no one was worthy of Ling Yun because she was too outstanding. In the entire Stellar Sky domain, there were no more than 3 people who could be compared to Ling Yun. Furthermore, they were all monstrous prodigies that stood above everyone else. The Blood Tool sect's strength was not that great. It could only be considered as the weakest of the 10 great sects, especially the sect master of the Blood Tool sect. He was a sinister and cunning person. But now, the wheel of fortune had turned. The previously unknown Blood Tool sect had ushered in its first spring and began to recruit experts from the Stellar Sky domain and the surrounding domains. In a short period of time, The entire stellar sky domain flocked to the Blood Tool sect like a flock of ducks. The Blood Tool sect had become a great sect that could rival the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. Originally, only the Divine Puppet sect and the Chi Transformation sect could be compared to the Blood Tool sect. Now that the Blood Tool sect had risen, even the Divine Puppet sect and the Chi Transformation sect chose to remain silent. The Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect became the biggest target of the Blood Tool sect. A joyous occasion is a joyous occasion, but my Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect needs to consider it carefully. Ling Yanyu said coldly. As the sect master of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect, especially one of the great sects in the stellar sky boundary, he couldn't show any weakness. However, the 9 great sects had sent out their Divine King Elders to congratulate them. The meaning behind it was obvious that the Blood Tool sect was forcing the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect to give in. Sect Leader Ling, I'm here to propose marriage on behalf of my grandson, Xueqi. My Blood Tool sect leader also asked me to bring good news. What does Sect Leader Ling think? Chu Wang said with a smile. His grandson, Xueqi, was a monstrous prodigy of the Blood Tool sect. He left the sect for 100 years and learned a supreme martial art. That was how the Blood Tool sect rose to become the most powerful sect in the stellar sky domain. They were on par with the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect, the Divine Puppet sect and the Chi Transformation sect. Allow me some time to think about this matter. I will give Elder Chu an answer 3 days later. Ling Yanyu said with a faint smile. Even though he was furious, the 9 great sects had sent out their elders to force the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. The Blood Tool sect was giving the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect an ultimatum. 3 days it is. 3 days later, I, Chu Wang, will bring my grandson Xueqi to propose marriage. At that time, I hope that Sect Leader Ling will not say such words anymore. The other 9 great sects are all in favor of this marriage. If the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect refuses, wouldn't that be going against the will of the people? My junior sister Ling Yun's husband must be a peerless prodigy of the divine world, someone who could reach the Emperor realm. Ordinary people are not qualified. Humph. Ling Chongsu said with a gloomy expression. He had watched Ling Yun grow up. She was also Ling Yanyu's favorite disciple. Other than Ling Yun, Ling Chongsu was the strongest in the entire Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. Of course, he and Ling Yun were childhood friends, growing up together. He was full of admiration for Ling Yun. Now that someone from the Blood Tool sect was here to propose marriage, the anger in his heart was completely ignited. Is this the teachings of the noble sect? How can he be so rash when the elder is speaking? Someone sneered. You good for nothing. Get out of here. Ling Yanyu shouted and waved his sleeves, sending Ling Chongsu flying out. I'm just joking, Sect Leader Ling. Please don't take offense. Chu Wang's words made Ling Yanyu's expression turn cold, but he did not flare up. The smile on his face became more and more playful. That's right. It's the day of the engagement 3 days later. We will definitely be there. Ha ha ha. Congratulations to the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. Congratulations to Sect Leader Ling. The Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect is different from before. Haha, if we were to form a marriage alliance with the Blood Tool sect, it will surely become a legend in our heavenly star boundary. Isn't that right? The Blood Tool sect's Xueqi is powerful, comparable to Ling Yun. Sect Leader Ling, don't hide it anymore. Isn't it great to have such a son-in-law in the future? The monstrous prodigy of the Blood Tool sect is the pride of our heavenly star boundary. A monstrous prodigy that only appears once in 100,000 years. The other elders of the 9 great sects were also filled with smiles. The 10 great sects are here to force you to abdicate. I don't believe that you won't give in. The Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect might be powerful, but they're not the strongest. Furthermore, it's impossible for them to fight against 10. The Blood Tool sect joined hands with the 9 great sects to put the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect in a difficult position. Most importantly, the Blood Tool sect will surely rise to the top 3 in the future, and the sect that will be eliminated is the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. Ling Yanyu's expression was cold. At this moment, his Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect was surrounded by enemies. The 10 great sects are not to be trifled with. In the heavenly star boundary, there were many sects that could compete with the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect, and now, the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect is being humiliated. Double happiness, referring to the marriage proposal of the Blood Tool sect and the Tongxian mansion in a few years' time. Tongxian Mansion only has one spot, Ling Yun. Yet, the Blood Tool sect wanted to marry Ling Yun, cutting off the path of retreat for the prodigy of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. It's also a slap in the face. How could Ling Yanyu not be angry? Unfortunately, he could only endure it silently. Ling Yanyu suppressed the anger in his heart, looked at everyone and said indifferently. Chapter 2878. Good. Sect leader Ling's words carry enormous weight, as expected of the sect leader. Ha! I admire you. 3 days later, our sect will come down the mountain to propose. Sect head Ling, please consider this carefully. I hope that sect head Ling will consider this matter carefully. We shall meet again in the future. Ha! After that, Chu Wang turned around and left. The other elders of the 9 sects also bade farewell and left the mountain. A middle-aged beauty slowly walked out from the main hall. She looked elegant and extraordinary. Yanyu, are you really planning to push Yun-Er into the fire pit? The beautiful woman bit her red lips, her face pale as she spoke with a difficult expression. Ling Yanyu's face slightly sank. Madam, don't you know me? Am I, Ling Yanyu, a heartless person? Although Yun-Er is not my own flesh and blood, we have treated her like our own for so many years. Do you think I will let my daughter fall into the fire pit with my own eyes? It's not like I don't know about the Blood Tool sect scheme. Our Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect only has one quota to enter the Tongxian Mansion, and that person is Yun-Er. She is talented and will definitely shine in the Tongxian Mansion. I will not allow Yun-Er to be trapped in the Blood Tool sect and send her to the Blood Tool sect. Ling Yanyu's expression was even uglier than the middle-aged beauty. However, as the sect leader, what he could do was extremely limited. Most of the time, he could not do whatever he wanted. Sometimes, people do not live for themselves, but because they have no choice. But, they are obviously forcing us to abdicate. The 9 great sects have come to our Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. If we don't give in, they might really attack us. Yang Lu was not someone who couldn't tell right from wrong. As the sect leader's wife, she was a righteous person. However, she could not remain calm when it came to her own flesh and blood. She also knew that this time, the Blood Tool sect had joined forces with the other 9 sects to take them down a notch. The Blood Tool sect had been rising rapidly in recent years and had become the target that everyone in the Tianxing domain wanted to curry favor with. The Blood Tool sect was unparalleled and had completely surpassed the 10 great sections. Of course, all of this was because of this rising star, Chu Yunji. Chu Yunji had been traveling outside for hundreds of years. When he returned, he had dominated the stellar sky boundary with his peerless talent. Countless geniuses had been trampled under his feet. The Blood Tool sect, which used to be ranked outside the top 10 sects, had also stepped onto the stage of the stellar sky boundary. They had become a sect that was not inferior to the top 10 sects, and even surpassed them. At this moment, Ling Yun, as the peerless prodigy of the entire stellar sky boundary, naturally became Chu Yunji's target. A hero and a beauty, a perfect match since ancient times. In Chu Yunji's heart, only Ling Yun was worthy of him in the entire stellar sky boundary. Moreover, the Blood Tool sect's position in the stellar sky boundary would definitely improve. Using the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect was the best stepping stone. Furthermore, Ling Yun had obtained the quota to enter the Tongxian Mansion. If she could marry into the Blood Tool sect, it would be 2 quotas for each sect, greatly increasing the Blood Tool sect's prestige. Most importantly, by using the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect as a stepping stone, the Blood Tool sect would definitely become one of the strongest sects in the entire stellar sky boundary. Of course, Chu Yunji's ambition, or rather, the Blood Tool sect's ambition, was far from this. Now that he could shake the 9 great sects, it was obvious that he was aiming for the entire stellar sky boundary. Suppressing the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect and forcing the 9 great sects to abdicate was also a show of strength to the other sections. After all, the Blood Tool sect's foundation was still weak. If they wanted to stand proudly in the stellar sky boundary, their foundation must be strong. Most importantly, they must gain the recognition of the Blood Tool sect. In other words, the Blood Tool sect's Chu Yunji and the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect's Ling Yun were filled with the smell of politics. Of course, Ling Yun's peerless beauty was also something that Chu Yunji valued. Being able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, it was incomparably gratifying. This time, the rise of the Blood Tool sect was unstoppable. This is also what I'm worried about. The Blood Tool sect is currently in the limelight. The 9 great sects have already established a close relationship with them. We can only survive in the cracks now. If the Blood Tool sect were to really cause trouble, the consequences would be unimaginable. Ling Yanyu said in a low voice. His expression was solemn. As the leader of a sect, this was the most difficult moment for him. He had to hand over his disciple to someone else and push him into the fire pit. This was the behavior of a beast. However, if he didn't do this, his earthly fire heavenly lightning sect would face its biggest crisis in the past 100,000 years. The Blood Tool sect could be said to be on the rise, full of vigor and vigor. What they wanted was to establish their prestige and become a member of the top 10 sections. Only then would they be able to step on others to rise up and make others fear them. I have an idea, but I'm not sure if it'll work. Yong Li's eyes lit up. Let's hear it. Ling Yanyu looked at his wife with a solemn expression. Let's agree to this marriage first, then let Yun leave secretly to gain experience outside. When they arrive at Tongxian Mansion, it'll depend on their luck. I believe that Yun will not be bullied by that guy. Ling Yanyu's expression was solemn. This was a good idea, but what if the Blood Tool sect refused to accept it? What if they fell out with Chu Yunji? This marriage would definitely become a conflict between the 2 great sections. Ling Yanyu had thought about this before. What you said is reasonable, but it's not as simple as you think. The Blood Tool sect is not an ordinary sect. I heard that Chu Yunji already has the strength to challenge the experts of the older generation. It won't be easy for us to get past her. If the Blood Tool sect and the 9 great sects are on the same side, things will become more complicated. This is the last resort. I will not do it unless it's absolutely necessary. Ling Yanyu was obviously in a dilemma, but as the leader of a sect, he had to make this decision. Let me think about it for 2 more days. Ling Yanyu sighed. No need, master. I'm willing to marry Chu Yunji of the Blood Tool sect. Ling Yun's silhouette appeared in the main hall. Ling Yanyu and Yonglu looked at her with a strange expression. No, the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect must not mistreat you, Ling Yanyu said. Ling Yun smiled and shook her head. Chapter 2879. But, you don't even know him before this. How can you get together just like that? I know you have a good heart, but this is not a child's play. Yun, listen to your master. Yonglu held Ling Yun's hand and said softly, marrying someone you don't like would be a lifetime of suffering. As a woman, how could Yonglu not understand? Back then, she was also a prodigy with peerless magnificence. There were many famous hierarch realm experts who liked her, but she was indifferent towards them. She only fell in love with Ling Yanyu, who was only a half-step divine king back then. I'm speaking the truth. Master, mistress, you guys can't possibly deny my wish to pursue the path of an expert, right? I believe that we will be happy in the future if we follow Chu Yunji. Although his strength is on par with mine, to be able to make the entire Blood Tool sect become so powerful in just a short span of 10 years, his strength should be self-evident, right? The Blood Tool sect's strength rose with the tide. If it wasn't for Chu Yunji's ability, no one would believe it. In my opinion, this is not a political marriage as deep as the abyss. Ling Yun said calmly. Every single word of hers filled Ling Yanyu with helplessness and self-blame. Yun, don't mess around. This matter cannot be handled by you. Ling Yanyu said. Master, Ling Yun will never forget the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect's kindness to me. I can't repay it, but please give me the right to choose my happiness. Ling Yun said seriously. You, sigh. Ling Yanyu sighed and turned to leave. Child, why do you have to do this? Yonglu held Ling Yun's hand tightly. Her eyes were filled with tears. She and Ling Yan had treated Ling Yun as their own daughter. But now, the entire earthly fire heavenly lightning sect was panicking because of her marriage. It was a great irony. If they couldn't even protect their own child, then what was the use of the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect's name? Mistress, sometimes people cannot live for themselves. Death can be as light as a feather, or as heavy as Mount Tai. I am not going to climb a mountain of swords or dive into a sea of fire. I am only marrying into the Blood Tool sect. I hope that the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect will become better and better. Even if I marry into the Blood Tool sect, I, Ling Yun, will always be a disciple of the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect. My poor child. Yongla hugged Ling Yun and cried bitterly. 3 days later, the 10 sects gathered at the foot of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. The one leading them was Chu Wang, who came to the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect 3 days ago. Ha ha ha, sect leader Ling. How have you been? 1 day apart feels like 3 years. Chu Wang stepped into the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect and laughed. At this moment, Ling Yanyu was already standing in the palace, looking at Chu Wang and the rest at the foot of the mountain. Men, welcome the Blood Tool sect and the other 10 sects to the main hall for a discussion. Ling Yanyu turned around and entered the main hall. Isn't this Ling Yanyu too arrogant? He didn't even come to welcome us. Looks like Ling Yanyu's temper isn't small. Humph, in the end, we all support Elder Chu. As long as you say the word, we will definitely support you. Haha, that's right. Since this Ling Yanyu is so arrogant, does his Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect really want to break off relations with all of us? The elders of each sect had a smile on their faces as they silently watched this scene. What they hoped to see the most was a war between the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect and the Blood Tool sect. At that time, the only outcome they could think of was a war between the two sections. At that time, it would also be the time to witness the strength of the Blood Tool sect. These fellows had their own ulterior motives. They were more than willing to see a war between the Blood Tool sect and the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. However, they were naturally standing on the side of the Blood Tool sect. I want to see what that old fella Ling Yanyu is planning. Do you think that I, Chu Wang, am afraid of him? Humph. Let's go. Chu Wang said with a gloomy expression. Ling Yanyu had humiliated the Blood Tool sect. How could he not be angry? But today, they came to show their strength to the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect, for Chu Yunji's marriage. Thus, they naturally did not wish to fight. As long as Ling Yanyu agreed to the marriage, it would mean that the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect had already lowered their head. The 10 elders once again stepped onto the main hall. Ling Yanyu stood with his hands behind his back, looking extremely arrogant. I'm sure sect leader Ling knows very well why I'm here today. I wonder if sect leader Ling has considered the marriage of my grandson, Chu Yunji? Chu Wang narrowed his eyes and said, I agree to the marriage between the Blood Tool sect and the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. Ling Yanyu's words caused everyone's expression to change. They did not expect this old fella to really agree to it. They all knew that Ling Yanyu was famous for his stubbornness in the Heavenly Star Boundary. He did not give face to anyone. Even the sect leaders of the Divine Puppet sect and the Qi Transformation sect might not be able to persuade Ling Yanyu. At this moment, Ling Yanyu directly agreed to it. This meant that he had already given in and had his own thoughts. The Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect had finally lowered their head to the Blood Tool sect. Chu Wang's eyes lit up and the corner of his lips curled up in excitement. He was waiting for Ling Yanyu to say this. The marriage was a small matter. The real important matter was the alliance between the sections. This meant that Ling Yanyu had completely acknowledged the Blood Tool sect and had lowered his head. Perhaps, the 10 great sects of the Heavenly Star Boundary would really have a change of leader. At least, it wouldn't be like this. However, the Blood Tool sect still had a long way to go to become the #1 sect in the Heavenly Star Boundary. After all, the foundation of the Blood Tool sect was far from the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect, the Divine Puppet sect and the Qi Transformation sect. They had hundreds of thousands or even millions of years of heritage. It wasn't something that an ordinary sect could surpass. Now, it was obvious that the Blood Tool sect would become the #1 sect in the 10 great sects. When Chu Yunji returned from the Tongxian mansion, the Blood Tool sect would be invincible in the entire Heavenly Star Boundary. Ha ha ha, sect leader Ling is wise. I am gratified. Then this marriage is decided. Sect leader Ling, don't worry. We will definitely let this couple get married as soon as possible. In the future, our Blood Tool sect and the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect will be brother sections. We will advance and retreat together. Today, I, Chu Wang, can be said to have an appetite. I admire sect leader Ling's magnanimity. I hope that sect leader Ling and the Blood Tool sect will be on the same side in the future. Chapter 2880. Advancing and retreating together, that's for sure. But to be on the same side as your Blood Tool sect, are you saying that you want me, Ling Yanyu, to submit to you? Ling Yanyu's domineering aura was instantly unleashed, causing the expressions of the 10 great elders, including Chu Wang, to turn exceedingly ugly. Ling Yanyu's strength was ultimately something they could not match up to. This was a fact that they had no choice but to admit. Haha, Sect Master Ling must be joking. Since that's the case, why don't we set a date? Ling Yun is a peerless beauty. My grandson's cultivation is profound, and his craftsmanship is world-shaking. Even the sect master of our blood tool sect has to admit that his craftsmanship is incomparable. Chu Wang said with a dry laugh. However, when he talked about his grandson, his face was naturally full of smiles, and even more pride and contentment. What? Even the sect master of the blood tool sect is incomparable to him in craftsmanship? Ling Yenyu's face became extremely unsightly. The elders of the 9 sects were also extremely solemn. They had heard that Chu Yunji's strength was powerful, that he could add an additional effect to a divine tool, and that his craftsmanship was comparable to the sect master of the blood tool sect. Such a peerless heavenly bridge was naturally something that everyone wanted to befriend. Furthermore, he could add an additional attribute to his divine tool, something that they only heard of in the Central Region Divine Land. Not only that, he could also increase the quality of his divine tool by a whole new level. The rise of the blood tool sect was also because of this that the other 9 sects flocked to. But now, Chu Wang's words had caused Ling Yenyu and the others to breathe heavily. One must know that the sect master of the blood tool sect could refine a primordial spirit tool. Although the success rate wasn't high, and the quality of the primordial spirit tool might not be great, it was still extremely terrifying to be able to refine a primordial spirit tool. Even in the Central Region Divine Land, he would still be sought after by countless people. It wouldn't be a problem for him to join a major force. Alchemists and blacksmiths were the 2 most popular groups in the divine world. Which one of them wasn't able to summon the wind and rain? There were countless people that wanted them to refine pills and weapons. Their ability to summon people was also terrifying. But Chu Yunji was only a junior. Had his strength really surpassed the blood tool sect master? This also meant that he now had the charisma of the blood tool sect master, and his future achievements would only be more terrifying than the blood tool sect master. He might even stand at the peak of the stellar sky domain. Is what Elder Chu said true? The elder of the Qi transformation sect asked solemnly. Of course. Do you think I would joke about such a thing? Humph. It's a good thing that Sect Master Ling is willing to marry Miss Ling Yun to my blood tool sect. Sect Master Ling, you will know in the future if my grandson is worthy of your sect's genius. Chu Wang solemnly said. However, everyone had once again re-evaluated the strength of the blood tool sect. It seemed like the blood tool sect had once again risen in their hearts. The blood tool sect was a sect of artifact refinement. Now that there were 2 experts that could refine primordial divine artifacts, how terrifying would that be? Most importantly, he learned from Chu Wang that the current Chu Yunji was already a level higher than the sect master. Ling Yenyu fell into silence. At this moment, even he did not know if what he did was right or wrong. If what Chu Wang said was true, then it might not be wrong for Ling Yun to marry Chu Yunji. Chu Yunji's strength might really be limitless in the future. Chu Yunji pays her respects to sect leader Ling and all the elders. At this moment, a thunderous voice resounded outside the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect, echoing through the void, covering half of the sect. What? Chu Yunji is here? That's Chu Yunji? What a handsome man. Yeah. I wonder where did senior sister Ling Yun get the fortune to be able to marry such a young prodigy like Chu Yunji. Chu Yunji is truly our role model. Breaking through to the divine king realm at such a young age. His cultivation is unparalleled. His skill in artifact refinement is unparalleled. His future will definitely be limitless. The disciples of the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect were extremely envious of Chu Yunji. The men were filled with fighting spirit, while the women were filled with love. Chu Yunji wore a red robe. Her long hair was like fire. Her eyes were bright like fire. She stood proudly on top of the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect. Her gaze was like a torch, and her aura was extraordinary. Chu Yunji. Ling Yenyu squinted his eyes. Everyone looked towards the outside of the hall. As expected of a genius disciple of the blood tool sect, the 10 great sects might really be reshuffled in the future. Ling Yenyu thought. Mid-divine king realm. He was on par with Ling Yun, but the scariest thing about him was his refining technique. An expert that could refine a primordial divine tool was enough to make half-step hierarch experts scramble for him. This was his rallying power. Of course, the prerequisite was that he could refine an origin divine tool that even half-step hierarch experts would be interested in. The sect lord of the blood tool sect only needed to refine an origin divine tool, and it was enough for him to establish his own sect in the heavenly star boundary. Hence, The value of a Grandmaster Refinement Master was much more than that. As expected of a genius, nephew Yunji. Ling Yanyu indifferently said as he stared at Chu Yunji. Chu Yunji's eyes were filled with a cold and austere aura. As expected of someone who had experienced many trials and tribulations. This fellow's experience couldn't be compared to those flowers that grew up in a greenhouse. Sect Lord Ling is overpraising me. We will be a family in the future. Today, I, Yunji, would like to see Miss Yun Air again. What do you think? After the assessment at Tongshan Mansion, I have been thinking about Miss Yun Air day and night. I hope Sect Lord Ling will agree. Chu Yunji smiled and said faintly, if you want to see Junior Yun Air, you'll have to go through me first. Ling Chongsu said Lang Lang with a gloomy expression. Ling Yun was his childhood sweetheart, and now she was going to marry someone else. How could he not be angry? How could he not be angry? At this moment, he wanted to see if this fella had the ability to protect his Junior Yun Heir. This time, even Ling Yanyu did not stop him. He wanted to see how strong this guy from the Blood Tool sect was. He wanted to see how powerful this guy from the Blood Tool sect was. He wanted to see how powerful this guy from the Heavenly Star Domain was. Chapter 2881. Senior brother of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect. Sorry for not recognizing you. Chu Yunji cupped his hands and said. His eyes were burning with passion. Cut the crap. If you want to see Junior Sister Yuner, you'll have to ask my Ling Yun halberd first. Ling Chongsu held the halberd in his hand and pointed it at Chu Yunji. His battle intent was so high that it shocked many disciples. Haha, Senior Brother Ling is jealous. I never thought that our Senior Brother Ling would be so high-spirited. But since he has lost the qualification to enter Tongshan Mansion, I don't think he'll win this battle. Yeah, although we also hope that Senior Brother Ling can defeat Chu Yunji, the result might not be what we expected. Senior Brother Ling might not be Chu Yunji's match after all. Not necessarily. Tongshan Mansion might not be the most powerful. It might not be a bad thing for Senior Brother Ling to lose the chance to enter Tongshan Mansion. Let's see who will win first. At least in my eyes, Senior Brother Ling is invincible. Among the disciples of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect, countless of them raised their heads and looked at Ling Chongsu. Ling Chongsu's strength was obvious, but he was not invincible. At least, he was not that easy to defeat in front of this guy who had obtained the quota to enter the Profound Connection Divine Palace. Yunji, don't kill him, don't overdo it. It's just that the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect welcomes you. Chu Wang said indifferently. Yes, Grandpa. Chu Yunji said in a deep voice. I think Chu Yunji will win this battle. This kid's future achievement will be beyond our reach. An elder said, obviously thinking highly of Chu Yunji. Senior brother, please. Chu Yunji stretched out his hand and said, all right, take this. Ling Chongsu took a step forward and unleashed a terrifying aura. He held the Ling Yun halberd in his hand and moved like a dragon. The elders of the Divine King realm looked solemn. It was rare for them to witness such a battle between divine kings. The battle between divine kings was bound to be earth-shattering. At this moment, Ling Yanyu's expression froze. He used his divine origin force to envelop the two's auras. After all, the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect was not their battlefield. Sect leader Ling. Good move. Someone was even more shocked by Ling Yanyu's strength, a peak divine king. Among the 10 great sects, only the sect masters of the Divine Puppet Sect and the Qi Transformation Sect could compete with Ling Yanyu. Peak divine kings were existences that could be seen but not reached in the eyes of these elders. Ling Chongsu took the initiative to attack Chu Yunji. Chu Yunji's eyes brightened slightly. Ling Chongsu was a peak early divine king. Chu Yunji's strength was not too far away from Ling Chongsu, but there was still a gap between them. Chu Yunji retreated as she fought. Ling Chongsu's aura was completely suppressed. Even with the Ling Yun halberd in his hand, Ling Chongsu could not do anything to Chu Yunji. A peak heavenly divine tool was not an origin divine tool after all. No matter how strong it was, it did not pose much threat to Chu Yunji. Undeniably, the might of Ling Chongsu's Ling Yun halberd made Chu Yunji solemn. After all, the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect's means were quite shocking. Fire of thunder. Halberd blazing. Ling Chongsu wielded a powerful weapon in his hand, unleashing a domineering might that swept across the horizon. The disciples of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect were shocked, This was their senior brother that they were so proud of. He was too powerful. The Lingyun halberd was blazing with flames. The halberd was majestic. It was like a tiger that could devour mountains and rivers. Ling Chongsu's attack was overbearing. He did not give Chu Yunji any chance. He wanted to defeat his opponent in one go. That way, all the disciples of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect would be able to see his strength. You're quite strong. But it's a pity that the Lingyun halberd is still too weak in your hands. Chu Yunji sneered. Her fists covered the sky and shattered the void lightning fire. Ling Chongsu's countenance fell. The Lingyun halberd collided with Chu Yunji's fists. Chu Yunji was not afraid at all. On the contrary, many people were shocked. Fighting against a heavenly divine tool with his bare body. Although it was partly due to the difference in strength, it was still not something to be underestimated. Overlord halberd. Ling Chongsu used offense as defense. From the beginning to the end, his attacks were simple and complicated. His killing techniques were terrifying. It had to be said that Ling Chongsu's strength was indeed very strong, so strong that even the elders nodded their heads in approval. Some of them even felt ashamed of themselves, but Chu Yunji's expression didn't change at all. Get lost. Chu Yunji's punch was like a tsunami. The Lingyun battle halberd almost flew out of her hand. Ling Chongsu's perlicue was split open and blood splashed everywhere. The impact of the punch made Ling Chongsu's expression change dramatically. He was sent flying backwards, seriously injured. Ling Chongsu had completely lost his ability to fight. Such a terrifying technique. That's right. Even we might have our wings broken in his hands. It's truly too shocking. Elder Chu, I'm afraid that your blood tool sect will soon have a great weapon. Nephew Yunji's methods are truly shocking. We are ashamed of our inferiority. Many of the elders were filled with flattery, sighing in shock as they spoke in low voices. They were shocked by Chu Yunji's strength. Thank you, senior. Chu Yunji said with a smile. Humph. I'm weaker. I, Ling Chongsu, have lost. Ling Chongsu said while clenching his teeth. He spurted out a mouthful of blood. Chu Yunji's counterforce had made him suffer a lot. This guy's method was too despicable, but in the end, it was because his strength was not as good as hers. Ling Yenyu's expression became solemn. No matter what, his Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect had lost. Ling Chongsu was only second to Ling Yun. That meant that only Ling Yun might be able to fight against Chu Yunji. As expected of a peerless genius. Nephew Yunji, I'm afraid that you're one of the top 5 in the entire Tianxing boundary. Ling Yenyu said indifferently. As the leader of a great sect, a loss was a loss. Ling Yenyu would not have any complaints. Ling Chongsu had tried his best. On the contrary, Chu Yunji's attack was too heavy. Ling Chongsu might not be able to fight again for the next 3 years. Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. Is there any other senior who would like to challenge me? Today, I, Chu Yunji, am also itching to challenge you. I'm here for 2 reasons. One is to see Lady Yun, the other is to be defeated. A stone causing 1,000 ripples. Chapter 2882. Chu Yunji's intention was clear, to suppress the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect, to prove that his blood tool sect's prodigies are unrivaled. Since you're so fond of fighting, then I, Ling Yun, shall accompany you to the end. A clear voice echoed in the void. A white-clothed figure, with her sleeves fluttering in the wind, exuding a celestial aura. She turned around and smiled. Hundreds of flowers withered, revealing a beautiful face covered by a green veil. Although it's only through the veil, I can still feel Lady Yun-er's fragrance. It's even more powerful than your celestial aura. Chu Yunji's eyes lit up. Everyone's gazes were also focused on the white-clothed woman. Her face was covered by a green veil and she was extremely beautiful. It was a pity that they could only see her pair of intelligent eyes and not her true appearance. Even Chu Yunji was the same. That's why he was eager to see Ling Yun's true appearance. Her eyes had already captivated him. If he could see her true appearance, wouldn't it be too bad? Your mouth is still as hateful as ever. Ling Yun frowned. Lung Lung said, even if I want to fight, I won't make things difficult for my wife. Ha! Chu Yunji's fiery eyes became even more passionate. His heart became excited the moment he saw Ling Yun. Not only him, all the men had the same thought. Such a lady should only exist in the heavens. How could she be seen in the mortal world? The fairies of fairies are those who do not mess with the mortal world. And Ling Yun was one of them. You can marry me, but you have to win me first, Ling Yun said faintly. Her eyes were as cold as ice. She could not let her master be in such a difficult position. The earthly fire heavenly lightning sect's dignity must not be trampled on. That's why she must get back at her master. Ha ha ha. Looks like Lady Yun is so mischievous. Since you like it, I'll help you fulfill your wish. Let's see if you're suppressing me from above, or if I'm suppressing you from above. Chu Yunji said with a smile. Your mouth is full of filthy words. Chu Yunji, is this all you've got? Ling Yun said coldly. Although both of them had passed the test in Tongxian Mansion, they did not have a chance to fight. Right now, Chu Yunji's eyes were burning with passion. It seemed like this battle was unavoidable. If he couldn't even deal with his own woman, how could he establish himself in the stellar sky domain? Chu Yunji's eyes moved. She crossed her arms and said in a deep voice. Looks like I'll have to discipline you today. Women have to learn how to be obedient. That depends on whether you have the ability or not. Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect. Ling Yun, please guide me. Chu Yunji's eyes were cold. Looks like a woman full of thorns. If I don't discipline her well, she'll be full of thorns when she enters the clan in the future. This is definitely a good chance for me to have a good fight with her. Ling Yanyu frowned. Yang Lu, who was standing behind him, also had a worried expression. They knew that Ling Yun was trying to get back the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect's face. Otherwise, Chu Yunji would not be able to trample on the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect's dignity. However, other than Ling Chongsu, there was no one else in the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect who could fight against Chu Yunji. Yun, be careful. Yonglu looked at this scene worriedly and murmured, Don't worry. I believe she knows what she's doing. Ling Yanyu said, This battle can be considered as my blood tool sect's internal battle. Ha ha. I wonder if my grandson will win, or Ling Yun. But winning or losing is no longer important. Chu Wang said. At this moment, Ling Yanyu was feeling depressed. It was as Chu Wang had said. If Ling Yun lost, then his Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning Sect would not be able to regain their face. If Chu Yunji lost, then they could say that they were from the Blood Tool sect. Therefore they could only win this battle. Although Ling Yanyu knew that Ling Yun was talented, her opponent was not someone to be trifled with. Chu Yunji had defeated countless prodigies in the Heavenly Star boundary. She was definitely one of the top 3. This battle was unavoidable. I'm sorry, Yun. Ling Yanyu's heart was moved. This was something that no one could change. Since the decision has been made, then no matter what happens in the future, your master will not be able to help you. Sister Ling will not lose. I believe that she's the best. Ha! Yu giggled and stood behind Ling Yanyu like a little adult. Ling Yanyu glanced at Yu in astonishment. This little girl, compared to Ling Yun, knew how to win their favor. Therefore, they were extremely fond of this little girl, treating her as their own daughter. In the entire Spirit Cloud sect, there weren't many people who dared to provoke this little demon. At such a young age, Yu's strength had already reached the half-step Divine King realm. Although she was still young, her actual age was still very young. In these years, she had grown by leaps and bounds, even more so than Ling Yun. Ling Yanyu knew that Yu might be even more terrifying than Ling Yun in the future. He did not know if this was good or bad for the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. In the past, Ling Yun was a child that they had picked up. Now, Yu's talent was even more terrifying. Do you think that Sister Ling will win? Ha! Yongla smiled and caressed Yu's braid. Yu pouted and said, I think so. Plus, I feel that Big Brother should be here soon. As long as Big Brother is here, no one will be able to bully me and Sister Ling. Big Brother? Yang Li's heart skipped a beat. Who is this Big Brother that she was talking about? Yongla had no idea. She only knew that Yu was extremely reliant on that Big Brother. One could imagine that the relationship between that Big Brother and Ling Yun was not that simple. Are you sure that he will come? Yonglu continued to ask. Yeah, I can feel it. Big Brother, he's very close to me. Yu's smile became more radiant. Her eyes were extremely bright, as though they were more transparent than crystals. Make your move, Miss Yun. I believe that you will not disappoint me, Chu Yunji said with a smile. Her eyes were filled with ambiguity. At this moment, the confrontation between the two was right in front of them. Suddenly, in the northern sky, a gust of wind and thunder rumbled. A black figure broke through the void, stepping on the heavenly lightning, shocking everyone. Big Brother. Chapter 2883. 10 Years of Life and Death. Unforgettable and unforgettable. This Big Brother had brought out Yuer's pain and suffering for the past 10 years. She was cherished by the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect, like the moon in their palms, a treasure in their hearts. But to Yuer, it was nothing compared to a glance from her big brother, or even a gentle word of comfort. All these years, Yuer only had one hope in her heart. That Big Brother would one day arrive on the clouds, bringing her to travel around the world, to see all the prosperity in the world. That day would not be too far away, because she could already feel that Big Brother was getting closer to her, step by step. Her heart was about to jump out of her chest. The tears of yearning were like rain falling on the mortal world. Yonglu and Ling Yanyu looked at Yuer in shock. All these years, when did she have such an emotional moment? She had never shed a single tear. But at this moment, she was crying her heart out. In the blink of an eye, she raised her head and looked towards the north. Countless people at the scene followed little Yuer's gaze and looked towards the void in the north. A black silhouette was moving as fast as lightning, stepping on the thunderclouds. His face was as sharp as a knife, cold like frost, with distinct features, extraordinary handsomeness. His figure was like the backbone of Mount Tai, traversing across the sky. His black robe was like a shadow, his gaze was like a sword, looking down on the world. "I'm sorry I'm late." The black silhouette looked at Yuer and Ling Yun silently. His eyes were filled with shame. Yuer was like a sharp arrow, piercing through the void and fell into Jiang Chen's embrace. Her tears wetted his shoulder, but Jiang Chen's heart was in pain. "Big Brother, Yuer missed you so much, it's been 10 years. Yuer sobbed as she tightly hugged Jiang Chen, not saying a word. Her entire body was hanging on Jiang Chen's body. 10 years of longing gushed out like a spring, pouring out. Jiang Chen could feel Yuer's longing and attachment. In his heart, he missed her very much. Of course, there was also that white silhouette that stood proudly in the void, graceful and elegant, like a rose, making one's heart ache. "I don't want to leave Big Brother ever again." Yuer raised her head and stared at Jiang Chen with a pout. Her pitiful expression made Jiang Chen's heart completely soften. All right. Jiang Chen's promise lifted Yuer's mood. She would never let her big brother leave her again. Now that she had the strength of a half-step divine king, her big brother did not need to worry about her anymore. She could even protect him. Is this the big brother that Yuer was talking about? Yonglu glanced at Ling Yanyu and said with a sigh. Maybe it's him. Ling Yanyu said faintly as he stared at Jiang Chen, who was hovering in the sky. A trace of curiosity rose in his heart. Just where did this young man's charm come from to be able to make Yuer, who doesn't care about anything, trust and rely on him so much? From the moment Jiang Chen appeared, Ling Yanyu noticed that even Ling Yun's gaze became different. At least, it became gentler, not as tense as before. Ling Yanyu had always thought that he was good at reading people. However, he did not notice anything different about Jiang Chen. His appearance might not bring any benefits to the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect. That "I'm sorry, I'm late" made Ling Yun's heart calm down. Even though she knew that Jiang Chen was no match for them, it was still good to see him. In the past few years, his cultivation speed had indeed skyrocketed. He had already reached the early divine king realm. His strength was daunting. It would not take long for him to surpass the heavenly king realm. However, no matter how strong Jiang Chen was, he was nothing in front of the Blood Tool sect. He had no background and was not strong enough. What could he use to fight against the Blood Tool sect? With his temper, he would definitely not let this matter go. "Leave, I don't want to see you." Ling Yun's words made Yuer dumbfounded. Yuer had seen Big Brother's longing gaze when they were boating in the bamboo forest. She must be missing Big Brother deeply. Although Big Brother was not strong enough, she did not despise him. That was why Yuer liked him even more. But at this moment, she actually wanted Big Brother to leave? "I don't care. I'll go wherever Big Brother goes." Yuer grabbed onto Jiang Chen's arm, not wanting to let go for even a second. "Whether you want to see me or not, I'm still your man. Who does he think he is?" The corner of Jiang Chen's lips turned cold. He looked at Chu Yunji and said faintly, A stone that causes 1,000 ripples. In an instant, the entire earthly fire heavenly lightning sect was in an uproar. The 10 great sect's elders' expressions changed. This brat who came out of nowhere actually dares to speak in such a tone. He must be tired of living. Does he not know where he is? Ha ha ha. Are you talking about me? Chu Yunji laughed instead of getting angry. She looked at Jiang Chen with a cold smile. Yes, I'm talking about you, idiot. You're still so happy after being scolded. Calling you an idiot is already letting you off easy. Jiang Chen and Chu Yunji looked into each other's eyes. Chu Yunji's eyes were filled with anger. The corner of her mouth was cold, causing the surrounding temperature to drop. Who's this guy? How dare he provoke Chu Yunji of the Blood Tool sect? Is he tired of living? Can't you tell? TSK. He's obviously seen your sister Ling's lover. Don't put it in such a bad way. Who knows, he might be quite capable. Huh. Early Divine King Realm? I don't know where this guy came from, but he still dares to challenge the Blood Tool sect. He must be tired of living. I don't think even the genius disciples of the top 10 sects would dare to challenge Chu Yunji like this. The crowd was quite surprised by Jiang Chen's appearance. However, Chu Yunji was the mainstay of the Blood Tool sect. She had brought the Blood Tool sect to the next level with her own strength. Now, the Blood Tool sect was even more popular in the Heavenly Star domain. Even some of the elders who had been famous for many years were not as good as her. Compared to this unknown black-clothed lad, a young expert like her was more attractive and could even be crushed. I think you're tired of living. Chu Yunji said Lung Lung with killing intent. Ling Yun's expression slightly changed and she said, You're not his match. My earthly fire heavenly lightning sect doesn't need you to interfere. Chapter 2884. She could understand Jiang Chen's strength and ambition. But how would Jiang Chen know how powerful Chu Yunji was? He had no idea how terrifying the Blood Tool sect was. It was reasonable for Ling Yun to be worried. She had already accepted her fate. Being able to look at her again at this moment was enough for her to feel satisfied. How could it be so easy to turn the situation around? With Jiang Chen's early Divine King strength? Even his master, a peak Divine King, could do nothing. The Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect was in an awkward situation. Once the Blood Tool sect lost their patience and decided to fight against the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect, the result would be unimaginable if all 10 sects joined in. Moreover, Jiang Chen did not have the strength to do so. Moreover, he might even get himself into trouble. How could Ling Yun ignore it? Jiang Chen was impulsive, but she could not be crazy like Jiang Chen. Love was beautiful, but the reality was cruel. Waiting for him to meet for 10 years was already her limit. What she looked forward to was the man she loved sweeping across the world, taking her back and protecting the sect. That was just a fantasy after all. If Jiang Chen was given 100 years, Ling Yun believed that he would be invincible in the stellar sky domain. At that time, Jiang Chen would be her most glorious moment in the stellar sky domain. But time and tide wait for no man. Ling Yun knew that everything was too late. With love in your heart, don't think about it in your eyes. Even if they meet again, they would already be old. Since young, Ling Yun was protected by her master and mistress in the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. Now, it's time for her to repay her master's kindness. He couldn't let his master bear the provocation of the Blood Tool sect alone. This was her destiny. She could only blame the passage of time. They did not have the chance to meet again. They could only forget about each other in the pugilistic world. No one can take you away from me. Not even the heavens. Jiang Chen stared at Chu Yunji with a burning gaze. Arrogant fella. Ling Yun smiled bitterly in her heart. Don't you know how strong you are? An early Divine King dares to challenge a mid-Divine King? Do you know how terrifying his strength is? How powerful was the Blood Tool sect behind him? This guy was digging his own grave. Ling Yun was worried that Jiang Chen was digging his own grave. But even so, she swore to protect him with her life. Otherwise, she wouldn't give in even if she had to fight against the Blood Tool sect. Haha, do you know who you are talking to? Little brat. Even the heavens are no exception. Ha ha ha, you are the most ridiculous fellow I have ever seen. You want to fight with me for a woman? Who do you think you are? Today if I, Chu Yunji, don't kill you, I'm not a human. The corner of Chu Yunji's lips curled into a cold sneer. At this time, his patience had reached its limit. He wanted to see what kind of tricks this guy had up his sleeves. The rise of the Blood Tool sect in his stellar sky boundary should be met with some bloodshed. He wanted to let everyone know that the Blood Tool sect was not to be trifled with and that the rise of the Blood Tool sect was unstoppable. Jiang Chen was his stepping stone to the heavenly star boundary. This reckless fella dared to fight with him for a woman. Even the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect would not allow him to do so. Yunji, don't let those people cause trouble in sect Lord Ling's territory. Chu Wang faintly said as he glanced at Ling Yanyu. Ling Yanyu was as still as a mountain. No matter who it was or what they did, it had nothing to do with him. Now, the initiative was no longer in his hands. Ling Yanyu's attitude was to stay aloof when it was none of his business. No matter what he said, it would definitely cause unnecessary conflict. Therefore, silence was the best solution. I will follow Grandpa's teachings. Chu Yunji smiled faintly, but his eyes were filled with bloodthirsty murderous intent. Get out of the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect, I'll send you off. Jiang Chen, this is not a place you should be in. Bring you air and leave this place. Just pretend that we've never met. Ling Yun said. Don't worry. Big brother will not give up on you, Sister Ling, Yu'er said with a smile. She raised her head and looked at Jiang Chen with an inexplicable trust. Ling Yun was extremely anxious, but Yu'er still trusted Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen smiled and looked at Yu'er. These two did not seem to treat Chu Yunji seriously. Ling Yun could already feel Chu Yunji's terrifying murderous intent. You're a madman. Too arrogant and conceited. Ling Yun gritted her teeth and said. Jiang Chen was completely blinded by his confidence. Miss Yu'er, looks like your advice is useless. I've already given you enough face. After all, I'll be your husband in the future. Unfortunately, he doesn't appreciate it. Ha ha ha, brat. This day next year will be your death date. Chu Yunji pointed at Jiang Chen and said Lung Lung. Let's go to Sister Ling's place first. I'll bring you to play after Big Brother chases that bad guy away. Jiang Chen looked at Yu'er and said softly. Ling Yun was on the verge of collapsing. What qualifications do you have to fight Chu Yunji? She didn't know what Jiang Chen had gone through all these years. His strength had improved by leaps and bounds, but his foundation was too weak. It was impossible for him to fight Chu Yunji. In Ling Yun's opinion, the collision between the two was like hitting a rock with an egg. You're indeed noisy. From now on, there's no place for you in the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect. The moment Jiang Chen turned around, his aura changed. The gentleness in his eyes was replaced by coldness. He looked at Chu Yunji with killing intent. Hee, Sect Lord Ling, you should know who's coming, right? Chu Wang said with a faint smile. Yeah, Sect Lord Ling, to dare to snatch the bride, and with a genius like Chu Yunji from the Blood Tool sect. Looks like there's going to be a good show today. Do you really not know who this person is? Hee. An elder said with a smile. This brat. I've never heard of him before. Ling Yanyu said faintly. Since he had said so, Chu Wang and the others did not say anything else. Everyone was looking forward to Chu Yunji beating Jiang Chen until his face looked like a pig's head. Chu Wang still had this bit of confidence. No one understood his grandson better than him. You're just asking to be humiliated. Ling Yun's heart was filled with anger and worry. Every action of the two affected her heart. She was afraid that Jiang Chen would get injured. Chu Yunji was one of the top experts in the heavenly star boundary. She had also passed the Tongxian Mansion's test. How could Jiang Chen be her opponent? Make your move. Otherwise, you won't have the chance anymore. Chu Yunji said with an indifferent face, as if he was certain that he could kill Jiang Chen. To him, killing this arrogant guy was just a piece of cake. All right. Chapter 2885. A single punch from Jiang Chen was enough to frighten a mid-divine king when he didn't use his dragon transformation. If he used his dragon transformation, ordinary mid-divine kings wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow from him. It was just that Jiang Chen didn't know how strong he was. Since Chu Yunji was so confident, Jiang Chen would not disappoint her. He used 80% of his strength and punched out. Chu Yunji's expression changed instantly. It was as if a thunderbolt had exploded. The momentum was extremely imposing. However, when Chu Yunji finally reacted to it, it was already too late for her to dodge. She could only brace herself and launch a punch against Jiang Chen. No one had expected that Jiang Chen, an early divine king, could force Chu Yunji to take 3 steps back with just a single punch. Everyone was shocked by the scene. Jiang Chen's strength was only at the early divine king realm. What a terrifying punch. This guy is not simple. Indeed. An early divine king's punch is so powerful. He's not someone to be trifled with. That's not necessarily true. Can't you see? Chu Yunji is just testing him. He's obviously not prepared for that punch. You're right. Let's see who has the upper hand now. In my opinion, this guy has a strong start but weak finish. They're a realm apart after all. The difference in strength can't be easily overcome. Everyone was looking forward to the battle between the two of them. Jiang Chen's punch made Chu Yunji take a few steps back. Although she was shocked, she did not panic. She had underestimated her opponent. How could a mid-divine king lose to an early divine king in a one-on-one battle? Kid, if I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know how strong I am. Chu Yunji's eyes turned cold. The two of them collided again. A terrifying wave of qi scattered the clouds in the sky. The two of them kept colliding with each other. Explosions were heard. True Dragon Palm. Jiang Chen struck out with his hand. A huge palm with the shadow of a dragon appeared. It blotted out the sky. Chu Yunji's face turned cold. He quickly retreated. He didn't dare to be careless. Jiang Chen's attack was very fast. Blood Eagle Palm. Chu Yunji struck out with her palm. A blood-colored shadow appeared, piercing through the heavens and colliding with the true dragon palm. A terrifying power exploded out like a clap of thunder. The true dragon palm pierced through the air and approached Chu Yunji. Chu Yunji's blood eagle palm was broken by Jiang Chen's true dragon palm and he was forced to retreat once again. He was in a difficult position and could only regain his balance after throwing out 10 punches. He was overwhelmed by Jiang Chen's true dragon palm. Trash. Jiang Chen said faintly with a hint of coldness at the corner of his mouth. Chu Yunji was infuriated. She was forced to retreat twice by Jiang Chen. Her facial expression did not look good. After all, there were so many people looking at her. She came here to show off her strength, but she was forced to take each step carefully. At least, the spectators would be disappointed with her. This was not what Chu Yunji wanted to see. You're courting death. Chu Yunji snorted and attacked again. He was a mid-divine king. How could he be suppressed by a guy who was stronger than him? It didn't make sense. Blood Eagle Palm. Chu Yunji's qi soared to the sky. He pressed against Jiang Chen again. His palm was unstoppable. It seemed to be able to shatter the void. What a terrifying palm art. Chu Yunji is indeed a student of Tongshan Mansion. He's so powerful. That's right. This old man is ashamed of his inferiority. Even if this palm doesn't kill that black-robed brat, he'll be heavily injured. Chu Wang stroked his beard lightly as he listened to the elders of the 9 great sects, feeling extremely pleased. As a grandfather, he was naturally very happy that his own grandson was so strong. Hearing the praise of others, he was even more overjoyed. It's just a small trick. 5 Elements Combat Dragon Seal. Jiang Chen used the Azure Dragon's 5 steps. Every step he took was like stepping into the sky. Along with the condensing of the 5 Elemental Combat Dragon Seal, the shadow of the dragon could be seen floating in the void. Jiang Chen's qi was getting stronger and stronger. The Azure Dragon's 5 steps had completely closed the gap between their strengths. The moment the two of them clashed again, Chu Yunji knew that she could never underestimate this guy again. The 5 Elemental Battle Dragon Seal and Bloodhawk 8 Gale Palm exploded and their auras condensed, enveloping the sky above the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. Everyone's eyes were filled with graveness as they clashed. Ling Yanyu immediately activated the Sect Protection Formation to force the two out of the Sect Protection Formation to prevent the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect from being harmed. A battle between Divine King Realm experts was already a destructive existence. The Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect's 100,000 years of foundation would be destroyed if they weren't careful. The combination of the 5 Elements Combat Dragon Seal and the Azure Dragon's 5 steps was incomparably powerful. The Blood Eagle's 8 Qian Palm was completely destroyed, but Jiang Chen's 5 Elements Combat Dragon Seal still carried a destructive aura, forcing the latter to retreat. Damn it! Chu Yunji was infuriated. How could a mere early divine king be so ruthless? That terrifying footstep was enough to completely suppress her. In addition to that terrifying hand seal, Chu Yunji had no way to avoid it. At this moment, Chu Yunji had no choice but to take out his origin divine tool. It was a souvenir given to him by his master, the Thunder Tyrant Hammer. The black hammer was 9 feet long and as heavy as a boulder. There were dragons and phoenixes engraved on it. Lightning coiled around the hammer. The Thunder Tyrant Hammer struck out, shattering Jiang Chen's 5 elemental combat dragon seal. She was like an ancient war god, holding a giant hammer in her hand, overbearing and domineering, standing proudly in the void. At this moment, Chu Yunji finally unleashed her true power. To think that it's the Thunder Tyrant Hammer? Rumor has it that no one could escape from Chu Yunji's Thunder Tyrant Hammer after he returned to the Tianxing boundary. Yeah, looks like Chu Yunji is really angry now. That fella could force Chu Yunji to this extent. He should be proud even if he dies. The might of a mid-divine king realm war god is indeed not to be underestimated. Origin Divine Tool. What a terrifying divine weapon. Once the Thunder Tyrant Hammer is unleashed, it will definitely taste blood. Chu Yunji held the Thunder Tyrant Hammer in her hand and looked at Jiang Chen with disdain. Jiang Chen had forced her back twice just now. If it wasn't for the giant hammer in her hand, she would have been pushed back 3 steps. But now, with the Thunder Tyrant Hammer in his hand, everyone nodded silently. Chu Yunji had already won this battle. The might of an origin divine tool wasn't something that ordinary people could understand. Under the hammer, thunder was extinguished. Who could go against it? Chapter 2886. Thunder Tyrant Hammer? This guy has already made up his mind to kill him. Ling Yun murmured worriedly. Once the Thunder Tyrant Hammer is used, it will be stained with blood. Primordial Divine Tool. That's a primordial divine tool. Other than the sect leaders of the 10 major sects, who else could have one? It was because Chu Yunji of the Blood Tool sect could refine an origin divine tool that countless people flocked to him. Otherwise, with his extraordinary ability, he wouldn't have made so many sects look up to him and treat him with respect. Under such circumstances, which sect could obtain 2 or 3 primordial divine tools? Then, the sect's strength would receive a qualitative leap. Primordial divine tools had already surpassed heavenly divine tools. It was an existence that heavenly divine tools could not compare to. Chu Yunji's position in the Blood Tool sect was well deserved. See, big sister, I've said it before. Big brother's strength is not to be underestimated. Isn't it just a broken hammer? Big brother will definitely beat him up until he looks for his teeth all over the floor. Yu Er was still leisurely. Ling Yun did not know where Yu Er got her confidence from. Could it be that Jiang Chen cast some kind of spell on her? That's why she was so obedient. You don't understand. Sigh. Ling Yun looked at the scene silently. Jiang Chen's 5 elemental combat dragon seal was effortlessly crushed by his opponent. Jiang Chen looked at the scene coldly, as if he was not moved at all. It's not too late to beg for mercy now. Who knows, I might leave your corpse in one piece for Miss Yun Er's sake. Chu Yunji held the Thunder Tyrant Hammer in her hand. Her domineering aura was unparalleled. There's no point in talking anymore. If you can kill me, I will accompany you to the end. Jiang Chen crossed his arms and stared at Chu Yunji silently. Chu Yunji was so angry that she laughed. This Jiang Chen was too pitiful. Even at this moment, he was still so full of himself. You will pay for your arrogance. Your strength is indeed not bad, but under my Thunder Tyrant Sky Hammer, you have nowhere to hide. Chu Yunji was very confident. The Thunder Tyrant Hammer was an origin divine tool. Not everyone could resist it. He had once used this Thunder Tyrant Hammer to fight a late divine king guy to a draw. He was not afraid of his opponent's powerful pressure at all. The violent hammer intent of the Thunder Tyrant Hammer was even more shocking. Origin divine tool? Do you think you're the only one who has it? Jiang Chen said with a sneer. He held a hammer in each hand and both of them were origin divine tools. The Storm Hammer and the Meteor Hammer had already reached the level of a low-grade origin divine tool. Even the 108 divine swords were refined into a peak heavenly god tool by Jiang Chen, let alone the Storm Hammer and the Meteor Hammer. Everyone in the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect held their breaths as they watched this scene. 2 giant hammers, 1 in each hand, an origin divine tool. Even the elders of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect, like Ling Yanyu and Ling Yanyu, had a solemn expression on their faces. The shock in their hearts was indescribable. An early Divine King kid holding 2 Origin Divine tools. How domineering and extravagant is that? Even the disciples of the great clans in the Lone Dragon County should have the same standard. But Jiang Chen, could he be a disciple of a great clan? Everyone had this question in their hearts. The storm hammer and meteor hammer in Jiang Chen's hands made their expressions change drastically. They were trying to guess Jiang Chen's identity. If he was really a disciple of a great clan, not to mention the Blood Tool sect, even the Stellar Sky Boundary might not be able to offend him. This fella, where did he get such a powerful technique from? Ling Yun was completely shocked. The strength that Jiang Chen displayed was completely different from what she imagined. She knew that Jiang Chen was just a nobody from the Linhe boundary. But when he held 2 Origin Divine tools in his hands, even she was stunned. Big brother is so powerful. Yu Er clapped her hands and smiled. Who are you? At this moment, Chu Yunji's expression also became serious. This guy had 2 Origin Divine tools in his hands, and each one of them was not any weaker than her Thunder Tyrant hammer. His previous arrogance was completely gone. Early Divine King realm, holding 2 Origin Divine tools. It was something that many people yearned for. But in his hands, it became a standard. Chu Yunji had traveled for a long time. Although he was not very strong, he had a great opportunity to get this primordial divine tool. Moreover, with the guidance of his master, he could occasionally refine some low-grade primordial divine tools. But even so, he was respected and feared by the whole Stellar Sky domain. Chu Yunji was a famous primordial divine tool. Could Jiang Chen be a young master of a great clan with a powerful background? It didn't seem like it. But the 2 Origin Divine tools made Chu Yunji a little nervous. It was not because of his battle strength, but he was worried that there was someone behind Jiang Chen. Don't worry. I, Jiang Chen, am all alone in this world. There's nothing to worry about. If you have the ability to kill me, these 2 Origin Divine tools will be yours. Jiang Chen said with a smile, calm and unruffled. This made Chu Yunji even more worried. It was hard to tell if this guy was real or fake. I don't care who you are. Today, I, Chu Yunji, will suppress you. It's also an Origin Divine tool. I'm just afraid that you don't have the ability to display its terrifying power. Chu Yunji said. Really? Then I'll give you this chance. Jiang Chen took a step forward with the 2 Origin Divine tools in his hands. Although he was not an expert in hammering, the power of the 2 Origin Divine tools could still be displayed by Jiang Chen. I hope that this black-robed fella can defeat Chu Yunji. Yang Le said. It won't be that easy. Although it's 2 Origin Divine tools, the amplification is not as powerful as you think. Chu Yunji's strength is much stronger than him. Ling Yanyu said. He sighed in his heart. This battle was a struggle for his earthly fire heavenly lightning sect. If Jiang Chen won, then the Blood Tool sect would definitely blame it on his earthly fire heavenly lightning sect. But if he lost, it would mean that he had completely lost Ling Yun. There's no chance for him to turn the situation around. This fella who came out of nowhere would not be able to do anything. He might even be killed by Chu Yunji. I'm giving you face but you don't want it. Watch my hammer. Chu Yunji roared furiously. He couldn't care less anymore. He must defeat Jiang Chen in today's battle. The Thunder Tyrant hammer swept across the sky. As the hammer fell down, the mountain wind howled and thunder rumbled. Jiang Chen's aura didn't diminish at all. He waved the Tempest hammer in his hand, causing a powerful storm to sweep across the sky. At the same time, the meteor hammer in his right hand unleashed a meteor fall from the sky. It was a tragic scene. Under Jiang Chen's attack, the storm turned into a meteor shower. Chapter 2887. The strength that Jiang Chen had displayed was too shocking. Her overbearing hammer technique could not do anything to him. Chu Yunji gradually fell into a disadvantageous position in the face of Jiang Chen's 2 Origin Divine tools. Although the Thunder Tyrant hammer was invincible, it was exhausted by Jiang Chen's storm and meteor. On the contrary, it was restrained by Jiang Chen. The power of the 2 Origin Divine tools was fully unleashed by Jiang Chen. The storm was endless, the meteor fell, the blazing fire, the blue light and the red light intertwined. The 2 Origin Divine tools made Chu Yunji's expression change greatly. As the storm rose, his Thunder Tyrant Skyhammer completely lost the initiative. It was suppressed by the 2 Primordial Divine weapons. The sight of it made the hearts of those who saw it jump. It was too shocking. Even Ling Yanyu had to be nervous. He was afraid that these two guys would destroy his earthly fire heavenly lightning sect. Thunder descends, domineering to the heavens. Chu Yunji struck out. The thunder tyrant hammer smashed down with the momentum of a thunderbolt. Above the void, even the sky seemed to be collapsing. The surrounding space was constantly shaking. Today I must suppress you. A thunder tyrant hammer smashed down like a tiger, sealing all of Jiang Chen's aura. Chu Yunji hated Jiang Chen to the core. He would not rest until he was dead. No matter what his background was, he could not lose this battle. If he lost, perhaps the whole stellar sky boundary would laugh at his blood tool sect and even Chu Yunji. He was one of the top 3 experts in stellar sky boundary and entered Tongxian Mansion. Once Tongxian Mansion opened, his future would be limitless. Then I'll let you see what the true might of an origin god tool is. Jiang Chen sneered with a hint of disdain. The hammer of storm and hammer of meteor clashed with each other at this moment. The collision of the 2 origin divine hammers caused a terrifying chi to burst out. The entire sky above the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect was filled with rolling winds and lightning. The earthly fire burned the source and the meteor fell from the sky, clashing with Chu Yunji once again. Jiang Chen's falling wind and lightning was more powerful than Chu Yunji's. The moment their attacks clashed, the heavens and earth shook and the spatial zone was shattered. Everyone retreated. Even the spectating disciples felt suffocated by the aura. If it wasn't for Ling Yanyu suppressing the two's attacks, the entire earthly fire heavenly lightning sect would have been razed to the ground. What a terrifying aura. Yeah, this black-clothed man is not inferior to Chu Yunji. Looks like they're on par with each other. The might of a origin god tool is unstoppable. The disciples of the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect looked at this scene with envy. They could only retreat. Otherwise, even if Ling Yanyu suppressed the shockwaves of the battle, the pressure of a divine king would still be unbearable for them. Jiang Chen looked at the sky with the storm hammer and meteor hammer intertwining, constantly attacking from the left and right. His powerful aura was unstoppable. Jiang Chen's power seemed endless, causing Chu Yunji to be overwhelmed. Chu Yunji was in a disadvantageous position in an instant, unable to retaliate against Jiang Chen. The Thunder Tyrant hammer was almost stuck to the Storm hammer, while the Meteor hammer provided Chu Yunji with great offensive power. If this goes on, Yunji will definitely lose. Chu Wang's face was gloomy. He was incomparably furious in his heart. No one had expected Jiang Chen to appear. Furthermore, this fellow's powerful attack had completely destroyed Chu Yunji's prestige. If Chu Yunji lost this battle, it would definitely embarrass the Blood Tool sect. Furthermore, the path of the Blood Tool sect's rise would also be bumpy. Yunji, come back! Chu Wang roared. However, Jiang Chen's might had already caused Chu Yunji to advance cautiously. Although it wasn't a complete defeat, it was already difficult for him to deal with Jiang Chen. Chu Yunji's face was extremely ugly. If the battle continued, he might not be able to gain the upper hand. You think you can come and go as you please? Jiang Chen sneered and smashed his hammer forward. Gales danced wildly, shaking the heaven and earth. Chu Yunji retreated step by step, his face ashen. Jiang Chen's strength was extremely great. Jiang Chen's giant hammer was able to destroy the heaven and earth. Although Jiang Chen wasn't an expert in hammering techniques, that kind of crazy and unreasonable bombardment, the power of a primordial spirit tool was fully displayed. Even if Chu Yunji was prepared, he still became somewhat passive. Grandpa, I must win this battle, Chu Yunji said in a low voice. He didn't listen to Chu Wang's advice. Instead, he once again faced Jiang Chen. The two of them fought fiercely. Each step was filled with killing intent. Gradually, Chu Yunji also regained his position. After all, the primordial spirit tool that he was most familiar with was the Thunder Tyrant hammer. His hammering technique was shocking and incomparably terrifying. Although Master didn't allow me to show it in front of others, but today, I have no choice but to eliminate you. Chu Yunji's face was gloomy. This time, he was even more furious. He was completely unreasonable. Heavenly Dipper 36 Hammer Art. First Style. Chu Yunji started a new round of attack. Jiang Chen took a step back in order to advance. He squinted his eyes and felt a little shocked in his heart. Because his hammering technique was extremely ferocious. It was as if there was no way to retreat at all. Chu Yunji was charging towards Chu Yunji fearlessly. This brat's competitive heart is too strong. Chu Wang bitterly smiled as he shook his head. He was also a little inferior. The current Chu Yunji was no longer someone he could control. Even though he was his grandson, his strength and prestige were already far from Chu Yunji's. Elder Chu, don't worry. Look, Chu Yunji's strength is still at the peak. He just underestimated his opponent. Yeah, Elder Chu doesn't need to worry at all. This black-robed brat is definitely not Chu Yunji's opponent. I hope so. Chu Wang heavily nodded. In his heart, he was incomparably hoping that Chu Yunji would be able to kill Chu Yunji and raise the prestige of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. That way, the Blood Tool sect would definitely become famous, and the marriage between the Blood Tool sect and the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect would also be completed. Chu Yunji's strength was not ordinary. His hammering technique changed again. Even Jiang Chen's expression became solemn. At this moment, he discovered that Chu Yunji's hammering technique not only contained the Tao of attack, but also the Tao of forging. In other words, it was very possible that Chu Yunji had fused both the Tao of forging and the Tao of forging. Chapter 2888. But now that he was fighting with Chu Yunji, he could sense that her power had increased by quite a bit. It was all because of the power of her hammer technique, as well as the power of her weapon forging. It was a combination of both, and it was exceptionally fierce. Such a powerful hammering technique. Jiang Chen's eyes became serious. He was being pushed back by Chu Yunji step by step. Moreover, Jiang Chen wanted to see through all of Jiang Chen's techniques. Jiang Chen kept retreating. He wanted to know more about Chu Yunji's hammering skills and techniques. But in the eyes of the outsiders, Jiang Chen had been completely suppressed by Chu Yunji. He had lost his initiative and was being beaten passively. Jiang Chen couldn't resist Chu Yunji's oppression. Moreover, every time Chu Yunji pushed Jiang Chen to the edge, Jiang Chen would always be able to come back from the dead end. Jiang Chen. Oh Jiang Chen. Now, you finally know how powerful Chu Yunji is. Ling Yan's eyes were filled with sorrow. She was ready to take action at any time. If Chu Yunji wanted to kill Jiang Chen, she would definitely ignore it. Let's see how long you can hide. Chu Yunji sneered. His Heavenly Dipper 36 Hammers art was full of danger. Jiang Chen's expression turned solemn. Chu Yunji's hammering technique and smithing technique were fused into one. Moreover, there were rules to it. An ordinary mid-divine king would not be able to withstand his hammering technique. This is the art of smithing. Jiang Chen said. Ha ha ha. Not bad. You're quite capable. You can see that I'm using the art of smithing. There's no harm in telling you. This is my master's Heavenly Dipper 36 Hammers art. No one can block his attack. No one can match his smithing technique. That's the stance of a true expert. Chu Yunji was full of respect when he talked about his master, especially the Heavenly Dipper 36 Hammers art. He was extremely proud of it. Not bad. It's a different approach to achieve the same result. Jiang Chen murmured. Would his craftsman god's chart be stronger than this guy's if he used it with his hammer technique? At the very least, the so-called Big Dipper 36 hammer technique that he mentioned was absolutely not comparable to the god of craftsman's chart. Jiang Chen was suddenly enlightened. The doubts in his mind were also easily resolved at this moment. It must be said that the Big Dipper 36 hammers technique had given Jiang Chen a lot of inspiration. It allowed him to gradually understand the combination of hammering and tempering techniques, and how to achieve the fusion of attack and tempering techniques. The 36th move, Big Dipper Descending Circle. Chu Yunji's momentum was at its peak. 36 hammer shadows fell in an instant. Everyone's expression changed. How could Jiang Chen withstand the 36th hammer blow? The previous attack had left Jiang Chen with no way to retreat. This 36th move, Big Dipper Descending Circle, was the combination of the 36 strongest hammer shadows. It was also the perfection of the weapon refining technique. Everyone was mourning for Jiang Chen, because he had no way to retreat. Chu Yunji's overbearingness had once again refreshed their understanding of this young genius of the Blood Tool sect. His strength was enough to compete with the experts of the older generation. Moreover, this kind of powerful hammer technique that they had never seen before was even more frightening. Every hammer blow seemed to be knocking on their hearts. When the 36th hammer blow reached the limit, it was also the last moment of terror. It was invincible. In the end he still lost? Ling Yanyu sighed. This unceasingly overlapping hammer technique had pushed Chu Yunji's attack to the limit, making it hard to defend against. From the first hammer blow, to the second hammer blow, to the third hammer blow, until all 36 hammers were stacked together. Even Ling Yanyu himself would have to face it seriously, otherwise, he would be injured. A monstrous genius was indeed extraordinary. The elders of the 10 great sects could already see the ending. Jiang Chen will die without a doubt. No! Ling Yun's eyes moved. She instantly attacked Chu Yunji, but she was stopped by Yu Er. You're crazy! Ling Yun roared in anger. But it was already too late when she turned around. The 36 hammers had landed on Jiang Chen's body. The entire earthly fire heavenly lightning sect was filled with dust. Jiang Chen was smashed into the ground by the Big Dipper 36 hammer technique. Only a cloud of dust could be seen, rising hundreds of zhang into the air. At that moment, Chu Yunji looked at everyone around her with an arrogant expression. She held the Thunder Tyrant Sky Hammer in her hand, her arrogance soaring to the heavens. Yunji has made a fool of herself. Sect leader Ling, Lady Yun is mine to marry. The entire earthly fire heavenly lightning sect fell into silence, including Ling Yanyu and Yang Lu. The elders of the 10 great sects also had smiles on their faces. Damn bastard! Ling Chongsu punched the rock with an ugly expression. He had loved his junior sister for so many years, but in the end, she was going to marry someone else and become a political sacrifice for the Blood Tool sect. Ling Chongsu hated himself for not being strong enough to turn the tide. That feeling of helplessness made him hate. Jiang Chen, are you really going to die like this? Ling Yun murmured. Big brother told me that he won't die. Yue smiled, the corner of her mouth was bright, pure and innocent, making people feel pity for her. However, Ling Yun did not know what to say. You want to kill me, Jiang Chen, with just the celestial 36 hammers art? You think too highly of yourself. A cold voice came from the dust. Jiang Chen raised his head and looked at the sky. Like a ray of light, he soared into the sky and fought with Chu Yunji again. Everyone were in an uproar as they stared at Jiang Chen, who had risen up from the dust. Jiang Chen had endured the last strike because he wanted to personally experience the power of the 36 heavenly hammer skill. It's time to end this. Jiang Chen stared at Chu Yunji and took out his heavenly dragon sword. Jiang Chen's eyes were filled with coldness, which made Chu Yunji even angrier. You're still alive. Take my sword. Jiang Chen waved his long sword. The tip of the sword trembled and buzzed. When the shadow of the sword was raised, even Ling Yanyu's expression changed. What a terrifying sword chi! Jiang Chen held the heavenly dragon sword in his hand. His sword chi swept across 100,000 miles. Chu Yunji's expression changed. The heavenly dragon sword in Jiang Chen's hand was extraordinary. It was even more powerful than the storm hammer and meteor hammer. Chu Yunji could feel a great pressure from the heavenly dragon sword. Get lost! Chu Yunji waved her giant hammer and smashed it. Jiang Chen's sword was unstoppable. Everyone's eyes widened as they stared at the scene. Chu Yunji's Thunder Tyrant hammer was broken by Jiang Chen's sword. The hammer was sent flying. Chu Yunji's hair was in a mess. Blood spurted out from her mouth. She was seriously injured. Her face was dark and gloomy. One sword is enough to defeat you. Chapter 2889. No one had expected Jiang Chen's sword to be so terrifying. He defeated Chu Yunji with a single sword without any hesitation. Compared to their previous battle, it was like a child's play. That sword was too terrifying. None of the elders of the 10 great sects, including Chu Wang, could withstand that sword, except for Ling Yanyu. Chu Yunji was dumbfounded. His face was filled with confusion. Jiang Chen's sword not only defeated him, but also shattered his confidence. He was one of the top 3 prodigies in the stellar sky boundary, and he even obtained the quota of Tongxian Mansion. Yet, he could not defeat an early divine king. Chu Yunji was extremely furious. Until now, he still could not believe what had happened. However, facts speak louder than words. Jiang Chen won with a single sword. He did not lose unjustly. He just did not want to admit it. Ling Yun looked at Jiang Chen silently. Her heart was finally at ease. Previously, she was still unable to calm down. Because even she did not believe that Jiang Chen could be so powerful. He could defeat Chu Yunji and look down on the entire stellar sky boundary. How domineering was this? How domineering! Jiang Chen held the heavenly dragon sword in his hand and looked at Ling Yun silently. His lips curved slightly and he smiled faintly. I hope I did not disappoint you. Jiang Chen's words caused Ling Yun's heart to be inexplicably touched. She had mixed feelings. His silhouette was like a mountain. In the end, he did not disappoint her. Her previous worries were completely useless. Yue looked at Jiang Chen with a smile. She then turned around and made a face at Ling Yun. Ling Yun smiled. This little fella seems to know Jiang Chen better than me. Yue looked at Jiang Chen with a smile. How is this possible? Impossible, impossible. Chu Yunji's face was still full of sorrow. His reputation had been ruined. At least, this matter would spread throughout the stellar sky domain in a short period of time. By then, his reputation would be greatly reduced. The Blood Tool sect was still developing, so Chu Yunji's defeat had undoubtedly made the 10 great sects snicker in their hearts. However, the true might of the Blood Tool sect didn't lie in Chu Yunji's strength, but his refining skills and the sect master of the Blood Tool sect. With the two of them working together, the success rate of refining origin spirit artifacts had increased by a lot. This was the Blood Tool sect's true trump card. That black-robed young man is simply way too cool. I'm afraid that I won't be able to master that sword in my entire life. Even Chu Yunji was defeated. She is one of the few monstrous geniuses in the stellar sky domain. You can't judge a book by its cover, and you can't measure the sea with a pail. That's right. Who can understand the elegance of that sword? The news of Jiang Chen defeating Chu Yunji had spread throughout the entire Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. In the near future, the entire stellar sky domain would be shrouded in the elegance of that sword. Junior, you're formidable, Ling Yanyu said from the bottom of his heart. Even he had to treat that sword seriously. That sword contained the strength of a late divine king. Invincible. Who could compete with it? Get out of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. This is not a place for you. Jiang Chen coldly stared at Chu Yunji. Chu Yunji's face turned pale, but he couldn't say anything. Even if he had thousands of words, he couldn't change the fact that he had lost to Jiang Chen in the end. I'll settle this with you sooner or later, Chu Yunji said while gritting his teeth. He knew that he lost to Jiang Chen because he was not strong enough. However, his refining skills were not something that others could compete with. Then how should we arrange this marriage? Sect Lord Ling, I hope you can give me a reasonable explanation. Chu Wang stared at Ling Yanyu coldly and asked. Trash like him can be called a genius of the stellar sky domain? I don't agree. Jiang Chen sneered and shook his head. He didn't care about Chu Yunji at all. Kid, don't be arrogant. Although you're stronger, you can't be compared with the geniuses of my Blood Tool sect. My grandson is a grandmaster that can refine origin divine tools. How can you be compared with him? Do you really think that you can be so arrogant just because you have some skills? Chu Wang curled his lips and said. He was obviously unhappy about Chu Yunji's defeat. For this marriage, the betrothal gift of my Blood Tool sect is 3 origin divine tools. Chu Wang looked at Jiang Chen proudly. At this moment, even the 9 great elders' countenance changed. It's really generous. 3 origin divine tools. It's a great fortune for any of the 10 great sections. It will definitely increase the sect's strength. After all, a Divine King expert with an origin divine tool was completely different from a Divine King expert without one. Chu Wang was a Divine King expert. Chu Wang looked at Jiang Chen proudly. Ling Yanyu slightly frowned his brows. 3 primordial spirit tools. Even he was tempted. However, what he cared about was not the primordial spirit tools, but Ling Yun. If he agreed to it, it would be fine as the 4 sects would be fine. But if he disagreed, then the Blood Tool sect would definitely incite the other sects to attack them. This was also a sign of the rise of the Blood Tool sect. Currently, only the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect had a normal relationship with the Blood Tool sect. The other great sects were also friendly towards Chu Yunji, or even the Blood Tool sect. Only the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect was isolated. The Blood Tool sect became the temporary big brother. Although their sect might not have the strength to do so, with the sect lord of the Blood Tool sect and Chu Yunji, the 2 grandmasters, the rise of the Blood Tool sect was only a matter of time. Moreover, every sect wanted the origin divine tool sect. Naturally, they would not want to offend Chu Yunji. As for the marriage, Ling Yanyu sighed and looked at Ling Yun. Ling Yun's eyes were filled with sorrow. So what if Jiang Chen defeated Chu Yunji? He made Chu Yunji lose her face. But his ability was unparalleled. Not everyone could have this kind of ability in the art of refining. Compared to alchemists, the rarity of weapon refining grandmasters was not much less. I'm willing to listen to master's arrangement. Ling Yun bit her lips and said with a lowered head. She couldn't let her master face the provocation of the Blood Tool sect and the other top 10 sects alone. Chu Yunji of the Blood Tool sect had been defeated by Jiang Chen. If she didn't give in, the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect would surely be ostracized by the Blood Tool sect. Chapter 2890. Haha, trash is trash. Looks like your Blood Tool sect only has this much ability. You want to marry Ling Yun with just 3 primordial spirit tools? Too stingy. Could it be that a great blacksmith sect is so narrow-minded? Jiang Chen snorted disdainfully. Nonsense. How would you understand the prestige of a blacksmith grandmaster? Humph. Chu Yunji said unwillingly. He knew that losing to Jiang Chen was the greatest humiliation of his life. However, he had never been afraid of anyone in the field of refining weapons. Even his master had said that apart from those geniuses who were nurtured by the major powers of the central region, no ordinary people could compete with him. That's right. That's right. Blacksmith genius? A trash like you can also forge an primordial spirit tool? Jiang Chen pretended to be surprised and looked at Chu Yunji. Do you think a blacksmith grandmaster is something a kid like you can come in contact with? Humph. Simply arrogant. Chu Wang was furious. This guy insulted Chu Yunji, which was the same as insulting him and the entire Blood Tool sect. This was intolerable. This guy has 2 primordial spirit tools and seems to have forgotten his surname. Ha! That's right. Why should we pay attention to such an arrogant fellow? Young Master Chu, we believe that you are the true genius of the stellar sky boundary. Don't be slandered by these people. The 9 Grand Elders were all fawning over Chu Yunji, praising her to the extreme. Chu Yunji had a proud look on her face. It seemed that she was quite loved and respected. At least the elders of the so-called top 10 sects had to be respectful to her. Is that so? Unfortunately, I am also a blacksmith grandmaster. Isn't it just an primordial spirit tool? Isn't it just a piece of cake? Jiang Chen shook his head and said in disdain. Everyone's expression changed. Ling Yanyu squinted his eyes and was shocked. Could this guy be talking nonsense? Nonsense. What kind of blacksmith grandmaster are you? Chu Yunji's heart skipped a beat and her face darkened. Only you are allowed to be a blacksmith grandmaster, and I am not allowed to be one? Ling Yun looked at Jiang Chen in disbelief. Is he really a blacksmith grandmaster? I only know that he was able to refine elixirs in the past. Could it be that he could also refine an essence spirit weapon? If Jiang Chen could really refine an primordial spirit tool, then the Blood Tool sect would no longer be the only sect, and his advantage would be gone. If Ling Yun could gain the favor of a Grandmaster Alchemist, a young and powerful Grandmaster Alchemist, perhaps the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect would have a chance to turn the situation around. Little friend, you can't say such things carelessly. Not everyone can pretend to be a Grandmaster Refiner. Ling Yanyu looked at Jiang Chen solemnly. I am the Master Craftsman. If you don't believe me, just watch. Jiang Chen moved his hand and 108 peak Heavenly God tools soared up to the clouds. Everyone in the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect was dumbfounded, including Ling Yanyu. 108 peak Heavenly God tools. How big of a deal was that? How could he have so many Heavenly God tools if he wasn't a Grandmaster Alchemist? How could he have so many Heavenly God tools if he wasn't a Grandmaster Alchemist? Even a Grandmaster Alchemist might not be able to refine a Heavenly God tool every single time. Once he failed, the material used to refine the Heavenly God tools would lose its natural spiritual aura and become a pile of scrap metal. 108 Heavenly God tools. Even Chu Yunji could not take it out. This? Is this real? I actually saw 108 pinnacle Heavenly God tools. This quality is almost perfect. This fella. Could he really be a Grandmaster Alchemist? Although everyone's heart was filled with disbelief, Jiang Chen's 108 Heavenly Divine tools had truly shocked them. Moreover, the 2 Origin Divine tool hammers in Jiang Chen's hands had made them believe it without a doubt. This fella is even better than Chu Yunji. Ling Yanyu thought in his heart. If Jiang Chen was willing to stand on the side of their earthly fire heavenly lightning sect, Ling Yun might not need to marry into the blood tool sect. More importantly, she didn't have to marry into the blood tool sect. The other 9 sects wouldn't necessarily follow the blood tool sect for their own benefit. After all, Jiang Chen was also a master craftsman. Why should they bow and scrape before the blood tool sect? Moreover, if his earthly fire heavenly lightning sect could obtain Jiang Chen's support, the other 9 sects would also need to re-evaluate whether his earthly fire heavenly lightning sect was worth their attention or the blood tool sect. Everyone knew this clearly. If Jiang Chen was really a grandmaster alchemist and could compete with Chu Yunji, then the situation in the heavenly star boundary would change once again. Ling Yanyu did not say anything from the beginning to the end. He gave the right to speak to Jiang Chen. If Jiang Chen could save Ling Yun, then why not? I don't believe it. Chu Yunji stared at Jiang Chen, her eyes fixed on him. Do you dare to compete with me? If you can refine a better origin divine tool than mine, I, Chu Yunji, will concede defeat. Why not? If you lose, then represent the blood tool sect, come to the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect and beg for forgiveness, never to touch Ling Yun ever again. How about it? If I lose, I'll give you 2 origin divine hammers and 108 heavenly god tools. As for the marriage, is there a need to say more? Jiang Chen looked at Chu Yunji and smiled. Wah! Jiang Chen's bet shocked everyone. Is this fella going to bet his entire fortune? 2 origin divine tools and 108 peak heavenly god tools. Even the elders were drooling. Alright, it's a deal. 10 days later, I, Chu Yunji, will be waiting for you at the Blood Tool Sect's 9 Pinnacles Mountain. Chu Yunji said. Jiang Chen this. Even Ling Yun was shocked. Jiang Chen's bet was too big. Chu Yunji's greedy eyes said it all. And from the looks of it, he's definitely going to win over Jiang Chen. Even though Jiang Chen claimed to be a grandmaster alchemist, Ling Yun still did not know his depth. At this moment, Jiang Chen actually bet his entire fortune for her. How could Ling Yun not be touched? Yang Lu and Ling Yanyu looked at Jiang Chen silently. This fella is too domineering. Ling Changsu was also the same. Jiang Chen's boldness had left him in the dust. Not to mention that he did not have such a fortune. Even if he did, he might not be able to be so domineering. The earthly fire heavenly lightning sect's disciples, especially the young ladies, were in love with Jiang Chen. His attitude towards Ling Yun was truly admirable. Getting angry for a beauty, Big Brother is so domineering. Yu Er smiled, causing Ling Yun's face to blush. She did not dare to speak anymore. Jiang Chen's expression remained the same. He smiled confidently. Chapter 2891. Sect Leader Ling. Let's talk about this another day. Yunji's words are my words. 10 days later, at the 9 Pinnacles Mountain, the Blood Tool Sect will be waiting for your earthly fire heavenly lightning sect. Humph. Chu Wang snorted coldly. His expression displeased as he turned and left. The rest of the people from the 9 sects also looked at each other with a playful smile on their faces. Looks like there's going to be a good show in 10 days. Hehe. I don't know if this guy really has real skills. He actually dared to challenge Chu Yunji in the art of refining. Is he really a refining grandmaster? Even if he is more powerful, he might not be able to win Chu Yunji in terms of weapon forging. I'm still more optimistic about Chu Yunji from the Blood Tool sect. After all, that guy is the real deal. Who knows where this guy who appeared out of nowhere came from? Let's see who can impress us in 10 days. If the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect really has a friend who is a weapon-forging grandmaster, we might have to reevaluate ourselves. The people of the 9 sects didn't choose to stay any longer. They bade farewell to Ling Yanyu and left the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. The news of the duel in 10 days spread across the stellar sky boundary. Countless experts came to the stellar sky boundary after hearing the news. The duel between the 2 grandmaster craftsmen would definitely set off a storm of blood. Most importantly, the entire stellar sky boundary would become tense because of it. No one doubted Blood Tool Sect's Chu Yunji's strength, but whether this prodigy who defeated Chu Yunji could suppress Chu Yunji in terms of artifact forging was still unknown. If he really could defeat Chu Yunji, then the stellar sky boundary would definitely be in an uproar, and the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect wouldn't be suppressed by the Blood Tool sect. It's all thanks to you this time. Ling Yun lowered her head and looked shy, but she still said calmly. Big brother, you don't know how much we missed you when you were not by our side for the past 10 years. Especially Sister Ling. She just didn't want to talk about it. Yu giggled and said. She held Jiang Chen's hand and did not let go. Don't talk nonsense, Yu Er. Ling Yun furrowed her brows and her expression turned serious. She glared at Yu Er and stopped talking. Jiang Chen smiled and nodded. He then looked at the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect master, Ling Yanyu. Greetings, sect leader Ling. I am Jiang Chen, a friend of Yu Er and Ling Yun. All right. The younger generation will surpass us in time. Ling Yanyu's expression was calm, but he was not stingy with his praise. His eyes were also filled with admiration for Jiang Chen. I only have one question for you. Are you really a refining Grand Master? 10 days from now, what are your chances of defeating Chu Yunji? Ling Yan's straightforward method made Jiang Chen quite happy. What he disliked the most were those superficial and over-the-top formalities. On the contrary, Ling Yan's method was what he liked the most. I don't dare to say 100%. I'm afraid I'll be careless. 99%. Jiang Chen smiled and said in a humble manner. Ling Yanyu smiled bitterly in his heart. What's the difference? 99% is still being humble. I don't even know how to continue. Little friend Jiang Chen, you're young and promising. It's really admirable. But that Chu Yunji is not someone to be trifled with. It's said that she went to the border of the central province and learned the art of crafting tools. After that, she came back and dominated the heavenly star domain. She won't let go of this humiliation. Little friend, don't be careless. Yonglu said in a serious tone. I know. But I, Jiang Chen, do not care if she wants to take action against others. I am not someone who likes to meddle in other people's business. But if she wants to touch Ling Yun, she will have to go through me first. Miss Ling Yun once saved my life. Jiang Chen will never forget it. You guys have taken care of Yu Er for me for the past few years. I am very grateful for that. That's why I, Jiang Chen, will not hesitate in this matter regarding the Blood Tool sect. Jiang Chen said in a serious tone. Not to mention the Blood Tool sect, how many people had he killed in the Qilian boundary? What could the 3 half-step ultimate gods of Linhe boundary do to him? A young man as fierce as a tiger. Good. I, Ling Yanyu, did not misjudge you. My disciple did not misjudge you either. Ling Yanyu stroked his beard and smiled. Are you really that confident? Ling Yun frowned. She was still worried that Jiang Chen was just boasting. A Grandmaster Refiner. Was that a realm that anyone could reach? Others might not know, but she did not know that Jiang Chen was just an unknown true god 10 to 20 years ago. His strength had improved tremendously over the years due to his hard work. But in the art of refining grand tools, without hundreds or even thousands of years, how could he have such an achievement? Ling Yun felt that it was a joke to be a Grandmaster Refiner for more than 10 years. What was Jiang Chen trying to do? Do you have no confidence in me? You saved me in the past. I'm returning you a favor now. Jiang Chen said. Ling Yun's heart skipped a beat. Her face turned pale as she smiled bitterly in her heart. Really? Just to return me a favor? Is it that simple? All right, I believe you. Ling Yun turned around and walked towards the bamboo forest between the 2 mountains. Her heart was filled with sadness. Little friend Jiang Chen, I'm counting on you this time. If you can defeat Chu Yunji, then my earthly fire heavenly lightning sect will definitely take them down. Of course, even if we lose, there's nothing wrong with it. I, Ling Yanyu, am not a person who would cause trouble. I will definitely protect you and not let the Blood Tool sect hurt you. Ling Yanyu said solemnly. Jiang Chen could see that this sect leader Ling was a broad-minded person. He was definitely not a petty person. This time, for Ling Yun, he will help her till the end. Don't worry, I will not let sect leader Ling down. Jiang Chen smiled and left the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect with Yu Er. Countless disciples looked at Jiang Chen silently. Even though his strength was not as strong as Chu Yunji, he was able to turn the situation around. It was truly admirable. Moreover, he was also a Grandmaster Refiner. When he held 108 peak heavenly god tools, not to mention the disciples, even Ling Yanyu, Chu Wang and the other elders of the 10 great sects were dumbfounded. This was true terror. More than 10 years had passed. Yu Er was still as cute as before, as if she was only 4 to 5 years older. Her figure had changed slightly, but she still could not get rid of her childishness. You've suffered for the past 10 years, big brother. Before Jiang Chen could speak, Yue bit her lips and said in a low voice, What do you mean by pain? Aren't I fine now? Ha! Chapter 2892. Jiang Chen was never a person who forgets his roots. He would always remember the kindness he received from old Gang Tu in his heart. Moreover, old Gang Tu's kindness was akin to giving him a new life. It was just that Jiang Chen didn't want to say those words out loud. You can hide it from others, but you can't hide it from Yue. Yue can see your face. It's full of hardships. I can see your past. However, I can't see Big Brother's future. I can only vaguely see that you will be more tired than before. Even the light of your life will be intermittent. Yue said while wiping her tears. She looked cute and petite, but she looked at Jiang Chen with heartache. You can see my past and future? Jiang Chen looked at Yue in astonishment. His face was filled with disbelief. Yue nodded and shook her head. I can only see your past, but it's very blurry. I can't see your future, but at least it won't be better than your present. Yue said with a serious face. Since the age of 10, I can see other people's past and future. It's just that I can't see it clearly. However, it's only limited to those below the Divine King realm. I can't see it beyond the Divine King realm. Moreover, it's very blurry. Every time I see it, I will have a splitting headache. After that, I won't look at it anymore. However, when I see Big Brother's past, Yue's heart hurts. I don't know how long it will be before Big Brother won't be as sad as before. Jiang Chen was extremely shocked. However, he couldn't explain too much to Yue. Jiang Chen also didn't know how talented she was. At least it was like this for now. However, Jiang Chen could feel that old Gang Tu was hiding a lot of things from him. Yue's eyes were too extraordinary. They were like a bright moon in the sky. It was shocking. Promise Big Brother that you won't reveal your strength casually, no matter who it is. Foreseeing the past and the future might not be a good thing for you. Jiang Chen suddenly thought of his great divination art. The reason why he hadn't used it until now was because it was too strange. It was only after he entered the divine world that he realized how extraordinary the great divination art was. The great divination art allowed him to foresee things for a short period of time, and it could play a crucial role in battle. However, it consumed a lot of soul energy, so Jiang Chen had never used it before. Going against the will of the heavens was bound to incur the wrath of the heavens. Before Jiang Chen truly understood what the heavenly Tao was, he had to be cautious, especially when it came to a secret art like the great divination art. He wouldn't use it unless he had no other choice. The God world wasn't like the immortal world. The reason why the great divination art had allowed him to succeed in every endeavor back then had to do with the balance and laws between the immortal world and the God world. Yes. I got it, Big Brother. Yuber quickly nodded. Oh right, Big Brother. Sister Ling has been missing you all these years. Although she didn't say it, I know that every time she's in the bamboo forest, she would feel a sense of worry. Apart from you, I think she doesn't miss anyone else. Hee. Jiang Chen rubbed his nose and laughed self-mockingly. That girl that was once arrogant in front of him could also worry for him now? However, Jiang Chen knew that he couldn't let Ling Yun down. Alright, let's go look for Sister Ling now. Jiang Chen brought Yue and headed towards the depths of the bamboo forest between the two mountains. As the bamboo raft floated on the river, Yue's eyes flashed with a hint of slyness. Big Brother, I'll be leaving first. Don't be embarrassed. Sister Ling has a sharp mouth but a soft heart. Hee. Yue turned around and disappeared into the depths of the bamboo forest like a fairy. Jiang Chen looked at the white-robed silhouette and felt a trace of heartache. He didn't know how much pressure the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect was under, but it shouldn't be borne by a girl no matter what. Otherwise, the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect, as one of the 3 major sects of the stellar sky boundary, wouldn't be forced by the other 10 major sections. The Blood Tool sect was even more fearless. One could imagine that the current situation of the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect was not as simple as he thought. Jiang Chen stepped on the surface of the river and looked at Ling Yun from more than 10 meters away. He said faintly, "That's right. You shouldn't be so negative. This is my choice, and also my destiny," Ling Yun said. But this shouldn't be your personality. The earthly fire heavenly lightning sect can face the blood tool sect in their own way. You don't understand. The stellar sky boundary is no longer the same as before. Although the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect is still one of the three major sects in the stellar sky boundary, the Blood Tool sect and Chu Yunji's powerful return have caused the other two major sects to ally with the Blood Tool sect. At this moment, the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect is completely isolated. Do you think that the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect can still maintain their former glory and dominance? The Blood Tool sect wants to use this method to force my master to submit. They want to attack the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect. If I choose to marry, then they won't have any reason to attack the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect. Without me, the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect will no longer be a threat to the younger generation. If they join the Blood Tool sect, their strength will increase instead. The quota for the Tongxian mansion is not that simple. If I marry into the Blood Tool sect, then I will become a member of the Blood Tool sect. The earthly fire heavenly lightning sect will suffer a double loss. At that time, the Blood Tool sect will not find trouble with the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect anymore. In other words, if I refuse, the Blood Tool sect will join forces with the other 9 major sects to attack the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect. At that time, it will be a chaotic battle. Without the other 9 major sects, Master is naturally not worried about the Blood Tool sect. But because of Chu Yunji's powerful return, the power of a Grandmaster Blacksmith is too great. The earthly fire heavenly lightning sect will not be able to fight against the Blood Tool sect. If the war really breaks out, the entire earthly fire heavenly lightning sect will become the target of the 10 great sections. At that time, the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect won't be able to resist the alliance of the 10 great sections. Ling Yun said in disappointment. The competition 10 days later was just an excuse from Jiang Chen. Can he really defeat Chu Yunji? That's like a fantasy. In the end, it's this Grandmaster Blacksmith that controls the distribution of power in the Tianxing boundary. If I can suppress Chu Yunji, then this crisis will be solved, right? Jiang Chen smiled. Chapter 2893. Jiang Chen's determination made Ling Yun feel good. However, no one knew what the outcome of this battle would be. Jiang Chen was confident, but so was Chu Yunji. How can I trust you? You should leave. I will always remember your kindness. However, I don't want to harm you. Even if you go, I'm afraid you'll be fighting like a cornered beast. Ling Yun continued. So what if I'm fighting like a cornered beast? With you around, what do I have to be afraid of? Ha! Jiang Chen's confidence made Ling Yun speechless. No matter how strong he was, could he go against the Blood Tool sect? Could he go against the 10 great sects? In the end, his thinking was still too simple. The Blood Tool sect would definitely set up a trap in the sect. If Jiang Chen dared to go to the 9 Pinnacles Mountain, he would probably die. You're crazy. Ling Yun looked at Jiang Chen angrily. Tongxian Mansion. I want you to go with me. Jiang Chen said seriously. What? You? Ling Yun looked at Jiang Chen in disbelief. Are you saying that only you can enter Tongxian Mansion, but I can't go with you? Jiang Chen's smile was warm, making Ling Yun feel like she was bathing in the spring breeze. He was still so cheerful. Even if he encountered a huge problem, he would face it calmly. Even so, you've obtained the right to enter Tongxian Mansion. However, you're still not a match for the 10 great sections. To go against an entire domain, Jiang Chen, are you crazy? Ling Yun shook her head. In this life, there's nothing that I, Jiang Chen, don't dare to do. So what if it's a sect or a domain? I, Jiang Chen, will definitely protect you. 10 days later, I'll destroy the Blood Tool sect for you. With that, Jiang Chen turned around and smiled. Then, he walked into the forest. In 10 days' time, he would wash the 9 Pinnacles Mountain with blood. Jiang Chen's eyes were bloodshot. He knew that if he didn't uproot the Blood Tool sect after entering the Tongxian Mansion, the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect might still be a threat. Since that was the case, he would destroy the Blood Tool sect for Ling Yun. He wanted the Stellar Sky Domain to remember Jiang Chen's existence. 10 days later. Stellar Sky Domain, Blood Tool sect, 9 Pinnacles Mountain. Tens of thousands of miles of mountains stretched endlessly. Mountains of lava spanned thousands of miles. The 9 Pinnacles Mountain was known as the largest active volcano in the Stellar Sky Domain. It had an extremely powerful lava mountain that looked like a huge cauldron that descended from the heavens. That was why it was called the Nine Pinnacles Mountain. The Nine Pinnacles Mountain stretched for thousands of miles, but there was no grass or trees. There were only blood-red rocks all over the place, as if it was weeping blood. The Blood Tool sect was a sect that specialized in crafting weapons. With the volcano as its base, it could be considered as having a strong backing. Countless disciples and masters of crafting weapons liked to use fire to craft weapons at the Nine Pinnacles Mountain. Without exception, all of the 9 great sects came to the Nine Pinnacles Mountain early to cheer for the Blood Tool sect and Xueqi. After all, they would have to trouble the Blood Tool sect to craft origin soul tools in the future. The Blood Tool sect leader, Xueqi, and Xueqi worked together. They had a high chance of crafting origin soul tools, which was why they were famous in the stellar sky domain. Ha ha ha, the person who dared to provoke Xueqi, young Master Chu, did he not dare to come? That's right. Young Master Chu is young and promising. He has already become a weapon-refining grandmaster. His future achievements are limitless. Not to mention the stellar sky domain, even the Lone Dragon County may not be able to restrict young Master Chu's rise. That's for sure. Young Master Chu is extremely talented and was chosen by the Tongxian Mansion. There are not many of them. In the future, when he enters the Tongxian Mansion, young Master Chu will definitely shine. Today, young Master Chu will definitely defeat that arrogant kid and prove the name of the stellar sky domain. If he wants to meddle in the affairs of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect, he should take a look at himself first. Humph. He's overestimating himself. The Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect is really funny. Does he really think that he has found a backer? He's just a divine king. Our 10 great sects have at least hundreds of divine king experts. Why should we be afraid of him? The entire Nine Pinnacles Mountain was filled with people. The 9 great sects had all come in advance to congratulate Xueqi. After all, Xueqi was deeply loved and respected by these sections. Jiang Chen had only defeated Xueqi. In terms of the art of crafting weapons, he was just blowing his own trumpet. It was not to be believed at all. The mountain wind howled. The temperature of the entire Nine Pinnacles Mountain seemed to be much higher than other places. Xueqi stood proudly on the Nine Pinnacles Mountain. He looked dignified. He looked like an elegant and beautiful young man. Countless disciples of the Blood Tool sect regarded him as a supreme figure. He was the idol of the younger generation of the stellar sky domain, and also the mainstay of the Blood Tool sect. Xueqi looked at the void in the distance with a proud expression. He was determined to beat Jiang Chen back to his original state. This time, he dragged him to the Nine Pinnacles Mountain to fight. He wanted the entire stellar sky domain to know his power. The power of a crafting grandmaster was inviolable. Naturally, he wanted to raise his eyebrows for the Blood Tool sect. The Blood Tool sect had been excluded by the 10 great sects for so many years. In his opinion, the Blood Tool sect was fully qualified to be called one of the 10 great sections. Moreover, they would definitely be one of the top 10 sections. This time, he and Xueqi had teamed up to refine the Origin Spirit Tool. The Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect would definitely be under his nose. It was only a matter of time before they became the #1 great sect in the stellar sky domain. Yunji, just what is the background of this guy who came to challenge you? How confident are you? A skinny middle-aged man stared coldly in front of him and said faintly. His aura was vigorous and he gave off an unfathomable feeling. He was the Blood Tool sect leader, Xueqi. He was also considered as a crafting grandmaster. Reporting to sect leader, even though this person's strength is slightly higher than mine, in terms of crafting weapons, I can definitely make him suffer a crushing defeat. Xueqi said in a low voice. I know how strong you are. Xueqi nodded. His expression was cold and his smile was extremely gentle. This time, if the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect completely provoked them, this battle would be unavoidable. If Ling Yanyu knew his limits and knew how to judge the situation, perhaps the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect could still survive in the stellar sky domain. Otherwise, this battle would shock the entire stellar sky domain. Chapter 2894. Don't worry, Sect Master. The Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect will definitely struggle to survive under the nose of our Blood Tool sect. If they want to live, they'll have to be obedient. If they're a dragon, they'll have to coil up. If they're a tiger, they'll have to lie down. Xueqi crossed her arms in front of her chest. Although her words were a bit arrogant, Chu Fengji enjoyed it very much. In the future, Chu Yunji would be the leader of the Blood Tool sect. Even he, the sect lord, would not be able to compete with Chu Yunji in the future. As long as he grew stronger in the future, in just a few thousand years, when he comes out from the Profound Connection Divine Palace, the Heavenly Star Boundary would definitely submit to the Blood Tool sect. Although it seemed ambitious, it was something that Chu Fengji had already expected. Even after entering the Tongxian mansion, a weapon-forging grandmaster would definitely be valued more than the others. This was what Chu Fengji truly believed in. In the future, Chu Yunji would definitely be a peerless figure that the Heavenly Star Boundary would not be able to restrain. Ling Yanyu was already prepared for the battle on the Nine Pinnacles Mountain. After all, they were one of the 10 great sects of the Heavenly Star Boundary. This time, Jiang Chen wanted to fight with Chu Yunji. As the sect lord of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect, Ling Yanyu naturally could not lose the limelight. The 10 great Divine King Realm Elders were already prepared. No matter what the result of the battle between Jiang Chen and Chu Yunji was, Ling Yanyu must be prepared. Otherwise, the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect would be devoured by the Blood Tool sect sooner or later. Jiang Chen was like a ray of light, shooting towards the sky. He landed on the Nine Pinnacles Mountain with Ling Yun and the others behind him. Jiang Chen's expression was cold. He looked at the sky and landed on the peak of the Nine Pinnacles Mountain. I, Jiang Chen, am here. Jiang Chen's voice reverberated across the void, deafening. The Blood Tool sect was not to be outdone. Tens of thousands of disciples were cheering for Chu Yunji, cheering for her today's battle. Good. I didn't expect you to have the guts to compete with me. It seems that I have underestimated you. Chu Yunji stood with her hands clasped behind her back. She and Jiang Chen stared at each other, their gazes locked. I didn't expect that a defeated opponent would dare to act so arrogantly. Was there no one else in Stellar Sky Domain? Ha ha ha, do you really think that just because you're able to refine a low-grade essence divine tool, you can be called an Tool's refining grandmaster? If I don't teach you a lesson today, you really won't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Jiang Chen's eyes were like torches, sweeping across thousands of miles. The Blood Tool sect, and even the 9 great sects, did not put them in his eyes. What a frivolous youth! Ling Yanyu thought to himself. However, Jiang Chen did have the capital to be arrogant. Long time no see, Sect Master Ling. It seems like today's battle is between your Blood Tool sect and the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. I'd like to see if your Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect is the real deal. Humph. Chu Fengji flew up to the sky and looked at Ling Yanyu. Both of them smiled, but their smiles were cold. Let's see if this junior has the ability to do so. Ling Yanyu looked like he didn't care at all, as if he didn't care about this battle at all. Chu Fengji couldn't figure out what this Ling Yanyu was trying to do. How could he be so confident? He had set up an inescapable net on the Blood Tool sect's 9 Pinnacles Mountain. How could he be so confident? Then let's wait and see. Chu Fengji harumphed. The battle between the 2 sect masters had begun. Ling Yanyu also placed all his bets on Jiang Chen. If Jiang Chen could defeat Chu Yunji, then he wouldn't have to face so much pressure anymore. Even Ling Yun would be able to escape from the Blood Tool sect's clutches. Ling Yun and Yu were holding hands. Yu was fine, but Ling Yun's eyes were filled with worry. Unfortunately, she wasn't good at expressing herself. She only hoped that Jiang Chen wouldn't be defeated by Chu Yunji. Sister, just wait and see. Big brother will not disappoint us. Men always put in a lot of effort in front of the woman they like. Hee. Yu crossed her arms in front of her chest, looking like a little adult. Her face was filled with arrogance, as if everything was under her control. She was even calmer than Jiang Chen. How do you know about this? Ling Yun thought. Young people don't know how to worry. Don't laugh at the heavens. Good. Jiang Chen, I will make you lose wholeheartedly. We don't need to bet on divine tools. We need to bet on our lives. Whoever loses will become a prisoner. Life or death. Chu Yunji gritted her teeth and stared at Jiang Chen. He came to 9 Pinnacles Mountain and still dared to talk nonsense. He must be tired of living. We'll do as you say. But I wonder who will be the unlucky one. Jiang Chen smiled confidently. A mountain can't accommodate 2 tigers. Especially a peerless genius like Jiang Chen and Chu Yunji. They were both young and promising weapon-forging grandmasters. How could Chu Yunji be at a disadvantage? Even though he lost to Zhang Chen in terms of strength, but in terms of weapon forging, even his master said that he was a rare genius in the northern cold divine region. Otherwise, why would he accept him as a disciple? He was fearless against Zhang Chen. The peak of the Nine Pinnacles Mountain is an active volcano and it erupts once every 10,000 years. The heat of the volcano is naturally nothing to a weapon-refining grandmaster. I wonder if you dare to head to the mouth of the volcano and compete with me? I hope you won't disappoint me. The fire of Nine Pinnacles Mountain is the hottest in the entire Tianxing boundary. I hope you won't be burned alive. Xueqi flew towards Nine Pinnacles Mountain as soon as he finished his sentence. On Nine Pinnacles Mountain, flames shot up to the sky. It was as if a neon was being reborn. It flew up into the sky and struggled in the flames. Nine Pinnacles Mountain is a huge furnace. With the Nine Pinnacles Mountain as the furnace and the heaven and earth as support, this fella is really playing a big game of chess. Yeah, looks like it's impossible for Xueqi to lose this time. How can this ignorant fella understand the mysteries of Nine Pinnacles Mountain? This means that Xueqi has a good plan. The elders of the 10 great sects nodded in silence. They trusted Xueqi. With the Nine Pinnacles as the furnace, Xueqi is undefeatable. This is definitely going to be a duel. Ling Yanyu, let's see how you're going to fight me. Chu Fengji raised his hand and clenched his fist. He was full of confidence. Nine Pinnacles Mountain was the foundation of the Blood Tool sect. Moreover, the divine weapon forged by the Nine Pinnacles Mountain would definitely be unparalleled. It was said that there was a divine emperor who passed by Nine Pinnacles Mountain. He thought that Nine Pinnacles Mountain was a mysterious place and he forged divine weapons here. That year, he shocked the entire Lone Dragon County. However, millions of years had passed and no one knew what was so special about Nine Pinnacles Mountain. What a unique cauldron. Zhang Chen sighed in his heart. Chapter 2895. The Nine Pinnacles Mountain was the source of the volcano, and it was a real active volcano. The Nine Pinnacles Mountain was the fire seed of the volcano, and the Nine Pinnacles Mountain was the cauldron. This was the real treasure of refining weapons. However, it was obvious that the people of the Blood Tool sect could not really use the Nine Pinnacles Mountain to refine weapons. They could only use the flames of the Nine Pinnacles Mountain for a while. When Zhang Chen appeared above the Nine Pinnacles Mountain, he realized how terrifying the volcano below was. It was comparable to his 5 elemental true fire. Its terrifying flames were terrifying and intimidating. Zhang Chen looked at it and saw that Nine Pinnacles Mountain was in a daze. Anyone below the Divine King realm would definitely die upon touching it, and anyone below the Hierarch realm would not dare to underestimate it. Zhang Chen could not even see through the flames of the Nine Pinnacles Mountain. The volcano was thousands of feet wide, and there was an unstoppable tongue of fire spewing out from the crater of the Nine Pinnacles Mountain. It was like a flaming dragon trying to break free from its shackles. It was extremely violent and fierce. Why? Are you afraid? If you're afraid, then obediently kneel on the ground, kowtow 3 times, and offer up all of your divine weapons and treasured weapons. Who knows? I might even spare your life on account of your young and frivolous arrogance. Don't lose so badly that you can't even recognize your own mother. Ha! Xueqi laughed and said. To her, Zhang Chen's solemn eyes were filled with fear. Zhang Chen's eyes became cold. What he hated the most was when someone insulted his parents, especially when it was someone close to him. Today I must kill you. Zhang Chen said Lung Lung. Haha, although my strength is not as good as yours, we are competing in the art of refining weapons. If you win, you can take your life, and I, Xueqi, will not even frown. Of course, if you lose, I'm afraid your life will be left in the Blood Tool sect. The volcano of the Nine Pinnacles Mountain will devour you and turn you into ashes. Xueqi's eyes were sharp. Both of them stared at each other. Their gazes met, and the flames of war spread out in an instant. Today, I ask all the elders to bear witness for me. In this battle between grandmasters, whoever loses will be buried in this sea of fire. I hope all the elders can help me clear my name. In today's battle, I, Xueqi, will be the invincible godly monarch. Xueqi said in a domineering manner. The 9 sects were naturally calling out to Xueqi. After all, they would need her in many ways in the future. The strength of a grandmaster of tool refining was enough for them to give her face. There's no point in talking so much. Let's see who is the true master. An origin god tool isn't something that just anyone can refine. Jiang Chen said lightly. This is the purple star pattern steel that I obtained by chance when I was training outside. Jiang Chen, my young friend, I'll give it to you today. Ling Yanyu held a palm-sized meteorite in his hand as he spoke in a low voice. Even Chu Yunji and Chu Fengji's countenance changed. They had clearly heard of this violet star rune steel before. From this one could see how rare it was. Even Grandmaster blacksmiths would tremble upon hearing about it. The reason why divine weapons above primordial divine weapons were so rare was because the materials used to forge them were too rare. Compared to concocting medicinal pellets, forging divine weapons and treasured weapons was much more difficult. Heavenly materials and earthly treasures were common, but top-grade metals that fell from the heavens were as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns. Now that Ling Yanyu took out a piece of purple star pattern steel, Chu Fengji and Chu Yunji's eyes turned red. All right. Jiang Chen did not hesitate and took the purple star pattern steel from Ling Yanyu's hand. It's indeed a good item. It's perfect to make the body of the sword. Jiang Chen's eyes flickered. This Ling Yanyu is really generous. This purple star pattern steel can't even be bought with 1,000 gold. No wonder he's the sect leader of the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect, to have such a terrifying item. Chu Fengji sighed in his heart. Even he didn't have a piece of purple star pattern steel, but Ling Yanyu gave such a big piece to Jiang Chen. This made him envious and angry. Such a good item shouldn't be wasted in the hands of this arrogant brat. As a Grand Master of tool refining, Chu Fengji felt his heart ache. Sect leader Ling is really generous. Haha, I wonder if this brat can give us a surprise? That's right. Sect leader Ling's bet is really big. If he loses, he would suffer a double loss. TSK. 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 Don't say that the grapes are sour. He's a Grand Master of tool refining. We just need to wait and see. I wonder if he's really a Grand Master of tool refining. A group of people said sarcastically. They were very confident in Chu Yunji. They were persuaded by the Blood Tool sect to come here to support the Blood Tool sect. Once Chu Yunji successfully defeats Jiang Chen, the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect would definitely be punished by them. The Nine Pinnacles Mountain looked calm and peaceful, but in fact, there was an undercurrent of turbulence. Especially between Ling Yanyu and Chu Fengji. Their gazes were unfathomable. You think you're worthy of using the purple star pattern steel? If you fail, I don't mind keeping it for myself. Humph. Chu Yunji's gaze fell on the purple star pattern steel in Jiang Chen's hand. He was extremely greedy for it. However, he couldn't forcefully take action under such circumstances. As the future of the Blood Tool sect and the rising star of the stellar sky boundary, he must make a name for himself in this battle. He will be the ruler of the stellar sky boundary in the future. Then you're destined to be disappointed. At this moment, Jiang Chen and Chu Yunji were finally going to start the battle of crafting weapons. Ling Yun clenched her fists. She naturally hoped that Jiang Chen could win. However, does he really have the strength of a grandmaster? If he loses, then the entire Nine Pinnacles Mountain will be in chaos because of him. If he wins, who knows how the Blood Tool sect will end this battle? Most importantly, if Jiang Chen really has the strength of a grandmaster and surpasses Chu Yunji, then the other 9 sects might not be willing to join hands with the Blood Tool sect to fight against the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect. Jiang Chen was walking on the tip of a blade. However, he was extremely confident now. With a purple star pattern steel in his hand, he was even more confident and hopeful in his weapon forging skills. He wanted to forge an essence soul tool for Ling Yun. Give a peach, return a plum. Whether it's a mule or a horse, it should be brought out for a walk. Now, I will show you what a true grandmaster of weapon forging is. I, Chu Yunji, will definitely be the best in Stellar Sky. If I can't forge an essence soul tool, I'm afraid someone will lose. Chu Yunji held a piece of black meteoric steel in his hand. His eyes were ferocious. He finally used his divine ability on the Nine Pinnacles Mountain. Chapter 2896. Flames rose and green tongues of flame spewed out continuously. On the largest active volcano on the Nine Pinnacles Mountain, Jiang Chen and Chu Yunji stood in the sky, facing each other. The long-awaited Grandmaster battle was finally about to begin. Ling Yanyu's eyes were filled with hope. If Jiang Chen could defeat Chu Yunji, the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect would rise once again. They would no longer be one of the 10 great sects that others could trample on. Ling Yanyu had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Even the purple star rune steel that even grandmasters coveted was given to Jiang Chen. Although it might not be considered as a gamble, it was enough to show Ling Yanyu's determination. Ling Yun's gaze was focused, waiting for Jiang Chen to erupt and rise. If Jiang Chen was defeated, her fate would follow the trend of the heavenly star boundary, becoming a sacrifice between the sects, a casualty of war. Ling Yun and Ling Yanyu. No one wanted Jiang Chen to win this battle more than them. Their fate and dignity were all tied to Jiang Chen. Although they did not say a word, Jiang Chen knew that it would be the saddest if Ling Yun could not become a sacrifice for the sections. 9 cauldrons as a furnace. Let's see how you're going to fight me, Chu Yunji said with a cold gaze. She sneered at Jiang Chen. She was confident that she could defeat Jiang Chen. She must forge a true peerless origin divine tool so that everyone here would give her the title of Venerable. That might not be the case. Let's think about how to bury my corpse first. Jiang Chen smiled coldly. The purple dawn star steel in his hand slowly rose up. The first step was to completely smelt the purple dawn star steel, then continuously temper it to remove the impurities within it. Only then would he be able to forge a better divine weapon. However, this step was something that many blacksmiths could not overcome in their lifetime, especially for origin divine tools. The difference between heavenly divine tools and origin divine tools was an insurmountable chasm. If one could overcome this chasm, it would be like a fish in the sea or a bird in the sky. However, if one could not overcome this chasm, it would be hard to forge a true divine tool for the rest of his life. Chu Yunji, with the meteoric iron in her hand, approached the mouth of the 9 cauldron volcano in a flash. Flames surged up and scorching waves rose to the sky. Everyone was secretly worried for Chu Yunji. If she accidentally fell into the mouth of the volcano, it would be a real active volcano. Even with Chu Yunji's abilities, it would be difficult for her to survive. Chu Yunji continued to disperse the surrounding heat waves. She moved her right hand and a palm-sized cauldron appeared in her hand. A green halo shone in all directions. Jiang Chen's eyes slightly moved. What a great cauldron. This is a real treasure. It's even better than origin divine tools. I didn't expect Yunji to have such a treasure. That's right. I've heard that even weapon refining grandmasters might not be able to find a good cauldron even after spending their entire lives. When crafting weapons, if you have a top-notch cauldron to match, then you'll definitely get twice the result with half the effort. Most importantly, this cauldron can make the refined materials even more refined. It's really enviable. I've never heard of such a cauldron before. It's really amazing. That kid must be tired. He wants to compete with Yunji. He's overestimating himself. Amidst the cries of surprise, Chu Yunji's face was filled with pride. This is the azure flower cauldron that my master gave me. There's an 8 trigrams formation in the cauldron that can resist the true fire of the world. Let's see how you're going to compete with me with the azure flower cauldron. Chu Yunji looked at Jiang Chen disdainfully. This guy's solemn eyes were completely dumbfounded. Chu Yunji put the black meteoric iron into the azure flower cauldron. She controlled the cauldron to slowly descend into the 9 cauldron volcano. The blazing flame wrapped the azure flower cauldron. The terrible flame struck the cauldron again and again. The black meteoric iron was destined to melt gradually in the azure flower cauldron. Jiang Chen looked at the scene silently and smiled. Although the azure flower cauldron was not bad, it paled in comparison to his myriad chi cauldron. Your azure flower cauldron is just as... Jiang Chen stretched out his hand and took out the myriad chi cauldron. The golden light shone brightly. No one could see the abnormality of the myriad chi cauldron, but no one dared to underestimate it. The more mysterious something was, the more it could shock people. Jiang Chen's myriad chi cauldron was just like that. The myriad chi cauldron appeared with a calm aura, but it caused a storm. The power of the cauldron was unparalleled and it shocked everyone. Chu Yunji and Chu Fengji's faces changed greatly. This was because the myriad chi cauldron in Jiang Chen's hands was too terrifying. It was even more powerful than his azure flower cauldron. Chu Fengji could not feel any aura from the myriad chi cauldron. Just like what his master had said, the more inconspicuous something was, the more powerful it was. When Jiang Chen put the purple star-patterned steel into the myriad chi cauldron, the myriad chi cauldron was thrown into the 9 cauldron volcano by Jiang Chen. The blazing flame continued to temper the myriad chi cauldron and smelt the purple star-patterned steel. Where did you get this cauldron from? Chu Yunji squinted her eyes. Any powerful master craftsman would never be a nobody. Especially Jiang Chen, who was so young, it was impossible for him to be a self-taught genius. Perhaps, his master was even scarier than him. What does it have to do with you where I got it from? Then where did you get it from? Do you want to ask your mother? Jiang Chen sneered and said. Both of them were controlling their respective cauldrons and their eyes were getting colder and colder. Jiang Chen could feel that the flame beneath the volcano was comparable to his 5-elemental true fire. What kind of flame was this? How could it be so terrifying? In the whole world, the only flame that could make Jiang Chen's 5 elements true fire yield was the red lotus karmic fire. However, at this moment, Jiang Chen felt that the flame was abnormally terrifying, especially in the myriad chi cauldron. The purple star patterned steel was gradually melting. Jiang Chen was even more shocked. The temperature of the flame under the volcano was even more indescribable. From the myriad chi cauldron, he could feel the terror of the flame and it was definitely not ordinary. Jiang Chen's expression was solemn as he looked at the volcano. However, he couldn't find anything. The only thing he could see was the tongue of flame that was rushing towards his face, making it hard for him to see what kind of flame was underneath the volcano. Chapter 2897. Activate! Chu Yunji shouted in a deep voice. The blue flower treasure cauldron flew up from the 9 Pinnacles mountain. The blazing red blue flower treasure cauldron changed its color at this moment. Chu Yunji was shocked. He had never expected that the blue flower treasure cauldron would be almost melted in the volcano. However, the blue flower treasure cauldron had survived the test. However, the black meteoric iron was not so lucky. It had already melted into a pool of molten iron. Chu Yunji activated the blue flower treasure cauldron and raised the thunder tyrant hammer in his hand. He finally began his practice. The black molten iron was wrapped in Chu Yunji's elemental energy, and he continued to conjure his thoughts. Through the thunder tyrant sky hammer, he hammered it down again and again. Terrifying flames once again lit up the entire 9 Pinnacles mountain, and the sound of metal clashing could be heard. Each time the thunder tyrant sky hammer hammered down, it was as if it was knocking on everyone's heart. The impurities in the black meteoric iron were constantly removed by Chu Yunji's thunder tyrant hammer. After repeated practice, the black meteoric iron became as black as ink and as bright as starlight. Jiang Chen was not in a hurry. The myriad chi cauldron had been refined in the 9 Pinnacles mountain for 7 days. However, at this moment, Chu Yunji had already forged the shape of a saber from the black meteoric iron. Although the purple star patterned steel had melted into molten iron, the impurities in it were extremely difficult to remove. Moreover, Jiang Chen wanted to forge a real primordial divine tool in the myriad chi cauldron. He needed to integrate the myriad chi into the purple star patterned steel. Therefore it took a long time. Did this guy's treasure cauldron get melted by the volcano? Haha, now I'm dumbfounded. That's right. Haha, if such a dramatic scene happens, the earthly fire heavenly thunder sect will definitely become the laughingstock of the entire stellar sky boundary. Look, he finally moved. Someone pointed at Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen moved his hands and the myriad chi cauldron floated up to the top of the 9 cauldron volcano. The golden cauldron wasn't damaged at all. Moreover, the cauldron was wrapped with all the flames, not letting any of them leak out. The purple dawn star patterned steel had also completely fused with the myriad chi. Its quality was definitely unparalleled. The rejection of the myriad source chi is really strong. Perhaps it feels that the purple dawn star patterned steel isn't qualified to fuse with it. Jiang Chen smiled faintly. The smile in his eyes deepened because it was time for him to forge. Chu Yunji kept waving the thunder tyrant sky hammer in her hand. Golden light flashed and sparks flew everywhere. 36 Celestial Hammer Art. Even Jiang Chen admired Chu Yunji's Celestial Dipper 36 hammer art. Chu Yunji relied on this amazing hammer art to not only refine a divine tool, but also turn it into a sharp weapon to kill enemies. It was really not easy. The black long blade gradually took shape. It was as black as ink and shone with a dark light. It gave off a majestic aura. Chu Yunji waved the giant hammer again and again. Her silhouette intertwined with each other as she performed the Celestial Dipper 36 hammer art again and again. The impurities in the black long blade were constantly being tempered. The blade shone brightly and the aura it emitted was getting stronger. Chu Yunji's hammer technique was so astonishing that even Chu Fengji gasped in amazement. His master was an extremely powerful crafting grandmaster. Otherwise, how could he have taught such a terrifying disciple in such a short period of time? Chu Yunji's strength proved everything. Even Chu Fengji couldn't do what she did. After being hammered thousands of times, the sharpness of the black saber was gradually revealed. "Why isn't he moving?" Ling Yanyu murmured. She couldn't help but feel worried. She hoped that the purple dawn star pattern steel could help Zhangchen deal with it calmly. Are you sure he can deal with it calmly?" Ling Yun said worriedly. "Anyway, I'm unconditionally loyal to Big Brother Xueqi. I'll be wherever he is." Said willfully. Ling Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This little fellow's blind confidence in Jiang Chen could no longer keep her calm. The black long blade in Chu Yunji's hand gradually took shape. A trace of power was gradually revealed. Everyone at the scene focused their attention on this scene. Jiang Chen's gaze was calm. He was still staring at the purple dawn star pattern steel. The two primordial divine tools in his hands were also tightly grasped in his hands. The meteor hammer and storm hammer were trembling at this moment. Jiang Chen's forging method was even more unfathomable than Chu Yunji's. Celestial Dipper 36 hammer art? Jiang Chen, don't care about it. I'll let you see what a real hammer art is. Jiang Chen smiled indifferently. He began to display his unique forging skill. It was the hammer art recorded in the craftsman god's chart. It was also the craftsman god's pride, the weighted hammer art. Bearing the weight of the heavens and earth, holding the weight of all living things. That was why it was called the weighted hammer art. The weighted hammer art was a forging technique created by the craftsman god. Compared to the heavenly Dipper 36 hammer art, it was tens of thousands of times stronger. Although the current Jiang Chen was still unable to display the essence of the weighted hammer art, it didn't affect Jiang Chen's forging of a divine weapon. The purple dawn star pattern steel in Jiang Chen's hands had been forged time and time again. The twin hammers continuously struck. The weighted hammer art was constantly changing. Using the waist as the base, every hammer strike carried the power to destroy the heavens and earth. It looked light, but in reality, it was as heavy as 1,000 caddies. It was unstoppable. Cloud ladder ascends to the 9 heavens. One hammer sets 8 directions. Jiang Chen's figure was like a shadow, changing unpredictably. Although it looked messy, every step he took was precise. Every step he took was centered around the forging material. Starlight splattered in all directions with every hammer strike Jiang Chen swung. The purple dawn star pattern steel continuously shrunk, becoming incomparably pure without any impurities. "This guy's hammer art is so strange," Chu Fengji said with a solemn expression. He had never seen such a strange hammer art. It looked incomparably messy and disorderly. However, it was able to extract the impurities from it. Furthermore, the purple dawn star pattern steel in Jiang Chen's hands also became incomparably pure. After thousands and thousands of tempering, it would become steel. At the very least, he had never heard of Jiang Chen's hammer art. This hammer art is as powerful as my master's," Chu Fengji muttered. Chapter 2898. The most important thing for a truly powerful blacksmith grandmaster was not the strength of the blacksmith, but the skills he had honed and the methods he used to smelt divine tools. Perhaps Chu Yunji's strength was not as good as Jiang Chen's, but he was confident that he could defeat Jiang Chen on the path of blacksmithing. However, at this moment, he was shocked by Jiang Chen's powerful hammering technique. Chu Fengji and Chu Yunji, who were true experts, could tell that Jiang Chen's hammering technique was not ordinary. It was even better than Chu Yunji's hammering technique. This hammering technique is simply marvelous. Chu Yunji's heart sank. However, Jiang Chen's hammering technique was obviously not as proficient as hers. This way, the quality of the forged material would be affected. Even if his hammering technique was very powerful, he might not be able to crush her. Chu Yunji calmed himself down and began to increase the intensity of the forging of the black long saber. Moreover, after 3 rounds of smelting, the saber was forged in the 9 pinnacles mountain by the flames and the thunder tyrant hammer. Only then could it be said that it had been thoroughly tempered. Jiang Chen's heart was calm and tranquil. Although Jiang Chen had not used the heavy hammer technique many times, he had already obtained the true teachings of the craftsman god. However, he had not honed it for long enough, so he was still unable to display the heavy hammer technique to its peak. However, even so, the purple star-patterned steel in Jiang Chen's hands was constantly changing. It kept shrinking and becoming incomparably pure. In addition to the myriad qi, the purple star-patterned steel had completely revealed a deep purple starlight. It became incomparably dazzling and shocking. The purple star-patterned steel is extremely difficult to temper, but this guy can actually temper it to such an extent. He really can't be underestimated. Chu Fengji's expression was solemn as he silently watched Jiang Chen. No one was optimistic about Jiang Chen's chances, but the methods Jiang Chen had just displayed were enough to make him, the sect master of the blood tool sect and a grandmaster tool refiner, take him seriously. By this point, Chu Yunji didn't have time to look at Jiang Chen. That was because he was about to finish the final stage of the forging process. The black blade was now as black as ink, and was beginning to take shape. Finally, it was time for Chu Yunji to finish. The terrifying aura emanating from the blade caused everyone present to look very serious. After being tempered by the Nine Pinnacles Mountain's volcano several times, the impurities on the black saber had been completely removed. His control over the flames of the Nine Pinnacles Mountain was much better than Jiang Chen's. This was a formless advantage that could increase the quality of the divine tool by quite a bit. Azure Flower Treasured Cauldron, it's all up to you. Chu Yunji shot the black saber into the Azure Flower Treasured Cauldron, and once again into the Nine Pinnacles Mountain's volcano. At this moment, thunderclouds appeared in the sky, and they started to gather towards the Nine Pinnacles Mountain. Is this the heavenly lightning caused by the forging of the primordial divine weapon? That's right, this is the lightning tribulation. Looks like Chu Yunji is indeed forging a real primordial divine weapon. Don't underestimate it. Don't underestimate it. This fella is asking for trouble. Chu Yunji is a real grandmaster tool refiner. Now that the thunderclouds have arrived, once Chu Yunji takes out the primordial divine weapon, the entire stellar sky domain will be shocked. That's right. Let's see what grade of primordial divine weapon Chu Yunji can forge. This lightning tribulation isn't that easy to withstand. Every time an primordial divine weapon descends, there will be heavenly lightning. Although it's not as good as the heavenly lightning when we break through, it's still quite terrifying. If we're not careful, someone will fall, and the primordial divine weapon will lose its soul completely, and it will no longer be a true divine weapon. However, I believe that nephew Yunji will definitely be able to withstand the heavenly lightning. The elders of the 9 sects congratulated Chu Fengji, the sect leader of the blood tool sect. Chu Fengji replied with a smile. Now that Chu Yunji had completed all the steps, it all depended on the final lightning tribulation. Sect leaderling, looks like this time, the person you brought is going to lose. Chu Fengji said confidently. Really? That might not be the case. It's too rash to make a conclusion until the last moment. If nephew Yunji can't withstand the heavenly lightning, not to mention the primordial divine weapon, I'm afraid it won't be easy for him to keep his life. Ling Yanyu said faintly. He was neither servile nor overbearing, and he completely disregarded Chu Fengji. However, the two of them were secretly competing. Sect leaderling, take your time and watch. I'd like to see who will have the last laugh. Chu Fengji snorted coldly, turned around and continued to look at Chu Yunji. Everyone's eyes were focused on Chu Yunji, because they knew that a terrifying primordial divine weapon was about to be born, and Chu Yunji was the creator of this primordial divine weapon. If he could gain Chu Yunji's favor, it would be much easier for him to forge primordial divine weapons in the future. Jiang Chen had tempered the purple star-patterned steel for a total of 9 times. The myriad qi cauldron had entered the volcano of the 9 Pinnacles Mountain 9 times. The purple star-patterned steel had completely turned into a deep purple, and there were even circles of purple halos lingering around it. The heavy hammer technique had tempered the purple star-patterned steel to the extreme, and this time, Jiang Chen wanted to temper the sword hilt. Using the purple star-patterned steel as the blade, what would be the sword hilt? When Jiang Chen took out the Thunderbolt Agarwood, Chu Fengji and Chu Yunji's facial expression changed completely, and they were filled with endless greed. To a craftsman, the value of the Thunderbolt Agarwood was self-evident. In the past, even the supremacies of the 9 boundaries wanted to fight for the Thunderbolt Agarwood in Jiang Chen's hands, and its value was already shocking. The Thunderbolt Agarwood could be used to forge weapons and concoct medicines, and it was something that alchemists and craftsmen would go after like ducks. As a material for forging weapons, the Thunderbolt Agarwood was incomparably heavy, and it was even harder than meteorites made of fine steel. Although it was made of wood, It had reached the toughness that countless metals used to forge weapons could not reach. Moreover, the thunderbolt agarwood would not burn, and it would melt into a liquid like metals, which was also the most special feature of the thunderbolt agarwood. Although Chu Fengji had never seen it before, he knew about the existence of the thunderbolt agarwood. As for Chu Yunji, she had seen it in her master's place. The palm-sized thunderbolt agarwood was treated as a treasure by her master. However, the thunderbolt agarwood in Jiang Chen's hand was bigger than her master's. It's the thunderbolt agarwood? Chu Fengji's words caused the entire Nine Pinnacles mountain to be in an uproar. Although the thunderbolt agarwood in the driver's hand was not big, it was enough to cause an uproar. Ling Yanyu and the other people from the 10 great sects were also shocked. Where did Jiang Chen come from? How could he have such a precious treasure? If not for the complicated situation, many people would have thought of snatching the thunderbolt agarwood in Jiang Chen's hand. Chapter 2899. The so-called gentleman was just a bargaining chip for betrayal. At this moment, all the sanctimonious elders of the sects, who were of virtue and prestige, had evil thoughts about the thunderbolt agarwood in Jiang Chen's hand. Good things should belong to the capable ones. In their eyes, Jiang Chen did not deserve such a divine item. Jiang Chen sneered. Fortunately, he did not take out the whole piece of thunderbolt agarwood. Otherwise, this competition would be completely ruined. The top 10 sects and the Blood Tool sect would probably send him into the 9 Cauldron volcano to snatch it. At that time, the whole stellar sky domain would turn out in full force. Jiang Chen did not care about others' eyes at all. He integrated the thunderbolt agarwood into the myriad chi cauldron and began to smelt it again. So what if it is the thunderbolt agarwood? You may not be able to refine an essence divine weapon. Chu Yunji gnashed her teeth and said. She was extremely envious of Jiang Chen. Her master was famous all over the world, but even he did not have such a treasure. Now it was in the hands of an unknown boy. It was really a reckless waste of God's gift. Whether it was the purple star pattern steel or the thunderbolt agarwood, he would snatch them all after this competition. At that time, he would tear Jiang Chen into pieces. Killing people and snatching treasures, Jiang Chen's defeat had already appeared in his eyes. When Jiang Chen put the thunderbolt agarwood into the myriad chi cauldron, he could faintly feel that there was some movement under the volcano. His every move felt like he was being watched. It was an extremely uncomfortable feeling. If it wasn't for his extremely sensitive soul power, Jiang Chen was afraid that he wouldn't be able to feel it. Especially under the volcano that was spewing flames, he felt that it was very dangerous. In the blink of an eye, the thunderbolt agarwood had already turned scarlet red. Jiang Chen used the weighted hammer art and hammered the thunderbolt agarwood again. This time, he had already started to fuse the thunderbolt agarwood with the purple star pattern steel. The purple blade of the purple star pattern steel was incomparably dazzling. Jiang Chen's gaze fell on the blade, as if he was looking at the woman he had loved for many years. That pure and genuine feeling even made him a little dazed, as if it was his own child. This origin spirit tool could be considered as the work that Jiang Chen was most satisfied with. However, it was still too early to make a conclusion. After all, the sword had not been forged yet. But on the other side, the thunderclouds above Chu Yunji's head had already started to gather. His black saber was starting to take shape. In the viridescent flower-treasured cauldron, black light shone brightly. Above the 9 Pinnacles mountain, thunderclouds rolled and the sky changed color. What a terrifying aura! Ling Yanyu's heart trembled. Jiang Chen was still forging, but Chu Yunji's origin spirit tool was about to be completed. Even the final lightning tribulation was about to descend. In the blink of an eye, everyone held their breaths as they stared at Chu Yunji in the air. Chu Yunji held a black saber in her hand as bolts of lightning struck down on the saber. Chu Yunji was doing her best to resist the baptism of the lightning tribulation. However, this lightning tribulation was truly terrifying. Bolts of lightning smashed down mercilessly, causing Chu Yunji to be on tenterhooks. Whether it was concocting medicinal pills, divine weapons, or treasured items, once they reached a certain level, they could be considered to be heaven-defying, and would attract heavenly lightning. Only by completing the baptism of the lightning tribulation could one be considered to have completed the task perfectly. In the lightning tribulation, Chu Yunji was in an extremely difficult situation. However, there were even more people who were looking forward to it. They were also very excited to be able to witness the creation of an origin divine tool. Some people would never be able to see it in their entire lives. Haha. Nephew Yunji is really young and promising. In the future, the world will belong to his generation. We old bones are ashamed of our inferiority. You're right. Each generation has its own talents. It's rare. Concocting an origin spirit tool. This is the true power of a grandmaster. After a full 7 days, the lightning tribulation finally subsided. Chu Yunji's chi also became much weaker. As countless people raised their heads in anticipation, Chu Yunji finally stood out from the lightning tribulation. Even though he was in a sorry state after being struck by the lightning tribulation, no one dared to laugh at him. That was because the black saber in his hand was glowing brightly. This was not a shabby lightning tribulation, but a true baptism of glory. The origin spirit tool is here. Chu Yunji held the black saber in his hand and roared. His voice shook the 9 heavens. His smile was filled with arrogance, because he had the right to be arrogant. Everyone was extremely excited. The origin spirit tool was born. The entire 9 Pinnacles Mountain cheered and cheered for Chu Yunji. The black saber was like a huge black dragon. It carried an extremely terrifying murderous aura and soared into the sky. The saber radiance was dazzling and shocked everyone. I've made a fool of myself. It can only be considered as a low-grade origin spirit tool. Chu Yunji shook his head and pretended to be calm. However, his heart was already in turmoil. This time, he had performed exceptionally well to refine such a treasure. Even his eyes were filled with pride. In the past, his best work could not reach such a level. It could only be regarded as a defective origin divine tool. This was the 4th time he had refined an origin divine tool, and it had already reached the lower level. It was already extremely rare in the world. How could he not be proud? In the entire stellar sky boundary, there were only 5 people who could achieve this kind of glory. Ha ha ha. Congratulations, nephew Yunji. The Blood Tool sect has produced a peerless genius. His achievements will definitely soar in the future. Chu Fengji's face was filled with confidence as he looked at Ling Yanyu. The elders of the 9 sects also looked at him with interest. Jiang Chen, can you really do it? Ling Yun kept asking herself in her heart. However, Jiang Chen was still unhurried. He was busy with his forging and was not affected by the outside world. Now, sect leader Ling should understand who is the real master of blacksmithing, right? Chu Fengji and Ling Yanyu looked at each other, but Ling Yanyu was still unmoved. A good meal is not late. Jiang Chen has not completed it. How do you know that Jiang Chen cannot forge an origin spirit tool? Ling Yanyu's question made Chu Fengji speechless again. Let's see how long you can be so stubborn. No worries. I also want to see if Brother Jiang can forge an origin spirit tool. Chu Yunji crossed his arms and looked at Jiang Chen, who was still unmoved. His smile was elegant and calm. At this moment, he was showing the demeanor of a great master. Since he had already completed the forging, it was not a bad idea to see how Jiang Chen was going to do it. Since he wanted to win, he had to win fair and square. Chu Yunji did not want to be cursed in the future. In his eyes, the outcome of the battle had already been decided. It was impossible for Jiang Chen to surpass him. Jiang Chen's refining method was completely different from his. It was almost impossible for Jiang Chen to refine an origin divine weapon. Chapter 2900. Chu Yunji frowned. She didn't know what Jiang Chen was planning, but this purple sword gave her a different feeling, but she couldn't explain it. Fuse. Myriad Chi Cauldron. The flames in Jiang Chen's hands rose. He stepped on the 9 cauldron volcano, and the purple sword merged into the Myriad Chi Cauldron. Rumble. Everyone was waiting to see Jiang Chen make a fool of himself, but at this moment, above Jiang Chen's head, rolling thunder appeared. Thunder clouds gathered in all directions, surging, and its power was even greater than before. Look, Sister Ling, I told you, Big Brother definitely wouldn't lie to us. The power of this thunder retribution is many times stronger than that guy just now. Big Brother is also refining an origin spirit weapon. Yu Er crossed her arms and stared at the thunderclouds in the sky. Jiang Chen's gaze was still sharp. He looked up and saw the lightning descending. He was the world-defying heavenly lightning, fearless. A strong thunder retribution is accompanied by a strong heavenly thunder. It won't be easy for Jiang Chen to pass this stage. Ling Yanyu's expression was serious, he said quietly. He knew that Jiang Chen's origin spirit weapon had already taken shape, but to complete the transformation of the Thunder Retribution, it wasn't that simple. Just as the elders of the 9 sects had said, it was possible that some great master craftsman died in the Thunder Retribution, especially the strong heavenly thunder. At this moment, even Ling Yanyu could smell a trace of danger. Chu Yunji's expression was gloomy. Be careful. You might die under the Thunder Retribution. Chu Yunji hoped that the heavenly thunder would kill Jiang Chen, and the purple star-patterned steel and the thunderstruck agarwood would become ownerless objects. This guy's origin spirit weapon is so strong? Even the Thunder Retribution is so fierce, my god. This thunder calamity is truly incomparably strong. Everyone, back off. It's really terrifying, but this guy, can he really block the heavenly thunder? Someone looked at Ling Yanyu. His stern expression had already explained everything. Difficult. Ling Yanyu only said a single word, but the expressions on the faces of the crowd were all different, especially Chu Fengji, whose expression was extremely cold. Brat, you want to eat a fatty in one bite? Be careful not to choke to death. I'm afraid that the heavenly thunder will devour you completely. Not even dregs will be left. Humph, humph. This is a sign of overestimating yourself. Chu Fengji did not shy away from Lung Lang. Although it was filled with mockery, it was the truth. After all, Jiang Chen was only a mid-god king. However, even peak god king Ling Yanyu became stern when he faced the terrifying lightning tribulation. They also understood that if the lightning tribulation landed on them, they would probably die a horrible death. They had the ability to refine origin spirit weapons, but they could not avoid the Thunder Retribution. They would only be asking for trouble, or even dying in the Thunder Retribution. This was not an exaggeration, at least at this moment. Jiang Chen's situation made them sigh silently. The Thunder Retribution above the 9 heavens was definitely fatal for Jiang Chen. Do you really think that you're that capable? Looks like you're even more arrogant than me, but it's a pity that you're extremely arrogant and stupid. You're digging your own grave. Ha ha! Jiang Chen, you won't die willingly. Chu Yunji laughed hysterically and said. However, the terrifying thunderclouds above the 9 Pinnacles Mountain had already covered 1,000 li, including the 9 Pinnacles Mountain. Needless to say, Jiang Chen's figure could not be seen anymore. Only a purple light was flickering in the thunderclouds. If Jiang Chen could not break through the final Thunder Retribution, he would not be able to refine the origin spirit weapon successfully, and he might die because of it. Needless to say, Ling Yanyu was extremely passive in the current situation. However, he could only wait. He glanced at his disciple who was even more anxious than him and sighed softly. Jiang Chen's arrogance might be the cause of his death. At this moment, the flame of hope in Ling Yanyu's heart became weaker and weaker. Looks like there's no need to say anything more about this competition. Someone shook his head and sighed. Lifting a rock only to smash one's own foot. Is there a need to do this? Ha ha! Isn't this what you call reaping what you sow? There were quite a number of sarcastic comments. After all, the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect had become the target of public criticism. Once the Thunder Retribution was extinguished, the entire Blood Tool sect would be in a state of panic. If the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect Lord Ling Yanyu dared to make a move, then the heavenly star domain would undergo a revolutionary transformation in the future. Ling Yanyu's expression did not change as he stared at the front. As long as Jiang Chen did not fall, he would still be alive. As long as the Thunder Retribution was not extinguished, he would be able to stand proudly on the mountain. The person with the most complicated feelings was Ling Yun. She was completely different from Yu Er. The spark in Ling Yun's heart was almost extinguished. However, Jiang Chen was frowning in the thunderclouds. He was nervous not because of the heavenly lightning, but because there seemed to be something under the 9 Pinnacles Mountain staring at him. It made Jiang Chen extremely uncomfortable. However, when his soul power scanned through the 9 Pinnacles Mountain, he found nothing. Although his soul power had not fully recovered, it was still impossible for an expert below the God Emperor realm to use their soul power to spy on him. However, the 9 Pinnacles Mountain made Jiang Chen extremely uneasy. Rumble. As the Thunder Retribution descended, Jiang Chen did not have much time to think. He started to forge and baptize the purple long sword. The Thunder Retribution was extremely overbearing. Some people were disheartened while others were gloating. Jiang Chen was not afraid of the heavenly lightning. When the heavenly lightning landed on his body, it was like a tickle. However, this primordial divine tool still needed the thunder retribution to nourish. It's still not enough. Let the storm come more violently. Jiang Chen smiled. The strength of the heavenly lightning was far from enough to him. Jiang Chen moved his mind. The 9 stars heavenly tribulation lightning and dawn sky golden lightning descended from the sky and struck the thunderclouds. The sky changed color and the 9 pinnacles mountain trembled. It can't be? Such a terrifying thunder retribution? Even a half-step hierarch would not be able to escape death. Ha ha ha, looks like it's true. Did this fella poke the god of thunder's nest? That's too scary. Good boy. I have never seen such a terrifying thunder retribution. Everyone's heart trembled. Even the light of hope in Ling Yan's eyes was gradually extinguished. Even venerables had to face this kind of heavenly lightning seriously. Jiang Chen was just an early divine king. How could he resist this heavenly lightning tribulation? It was even more violent than before. Under the thunder retribution, how could anyone survive? Jiang Chen was arrogant. Crafting such a terrifying primordial divine tool was equivalent to digging his own grave. This sentence was not wrong at all. Is it really over? Chapter 2901. Not necessarily. Yu Er's face was solemn and she said like an elder. Her young face was full of seriousness. Her big eyes were fixed on the thunderclouds in the void far away. She trusted Jiang Chen 100%. The thunderclouds covered the sky and covered the 9 pinnacles mountain. Bolts of lightning struck on Jiang Chen's body but there was no ripple. On the contrary, the purple long sword in his hand became brighter and brighter. It was full of purple light. The sword hilt was black, full of coldness and mystery. The sharp edge of the sword cut through the long river and the setting sun. The shadow of the sword was like a hook, splitting the snow, moon and wind. It's finally done. Jiang Chen let out a long sigh of relief and his eyes were shining. This time, his forging had reached the level of a middle-grade essence divine tool. Even he himself was extremely shocked. It seemed that his forging skills had improved greatly. However, a real peerless divine tool still needed good materials. After all, one could not cook without rice. The thunderbolt agarwood and the purple star pattern steel were the real soul of the sword. The thunderbolts gradually faded and his figure appeared on the 9 pinnacles mountain again. Under the clouds, Jiang Chen stood proudly in the void. The whole 9 pinnacles mountain was so silent that even a pin drop could be heard. No one expected that Jiang Chen could survive such a terrifying thunder trial. Moreover, he stood proudly in the void. He was calm and his clothes were fluttering in the wind. It seemed that he was not injured at all. He held the purple long sword in his hand and he was like a god descending to earth. He became the focus of everyone's attention. They originally thought that Jiang Chen would definitely die. However, Jiang Chen gave everyone a loud slap in the face. His appearance was like a miracle. He stood out from the thunder trial that even a half-step to venerable would be afraid of. How powerful was he? However, Jiang Chen did it. Whether it was Chu Fengji, Chu Yunji or the elders of the other 9 sects, they all became serious and could not stay calm. This is impossible. Chu Yunji was shocked and even cried out in surprise. Although he did not believe it, Jiang Chen's figure was standing there proudly. And the most attractive thing was the purple sword in his hand. The edge of the sword was full of purple light, shining brightly in everyone's eyes. That purple sword seemed to be a level higher than the primordial divine tool that he had forged. Did this guy pop out from a rock? He's still alive? Terrifying. Truly terrifying. This guy can actually forge a nascent divinity item, and the quality, I feel like it's even stronger than Chu Yunji's nascent divinity item. In any case, he really did it. This guy is really terrifying. His strength is even higher than Chu Yunji's, and his artifact forging skills seem to be better than hers. The faces of the elders of the 9 sects turned solemn at this moment. That's because the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect also possessed a divine king grandmaster, which could change the situation of the stellar sky boundary in an instant. Jiang Chen's nascent divinity item attracted everyone's attention. The purple light gave off a mysterious and cold murderous aura. Big brother, good job. You're the best. Hee. Yu Er gave a thumbs up to Jiang Chen. Ling Yun's smile became brighter. This was the happiest and most sincere smile she had for many years. Jiang Chen did not break his promise to her. He protected her. These 4 words could not be calmed down in Ling Yun's heart for a long time. Good, good, good. Ling Yanyu also said, good 3 times in excitement. Jiang Chen had forged a nascent divinity item, and the quality was not low either. This was enough to prove that he was qualified to go against Chu Yunji. The earthly fire heavenly lightning sect no longer remained silent. Chu Yunji and Chu Fengji had the darkest expression on their faces. They exchanged a glance with each other. Jiang Chen's appearance had disrupted their original plan. It could even be said that they were in a mess. At this moment, even the elders of the 9 major sects were no longer looking at Jiang Chen with hostility. Instead, they were looking at Jiang Chen with friendliness. This made Chu Yunji extremely angry. These guys were all fence-sitters. They couldn't be trusted at all. However, the main culprit was Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen must pay the price for this competition. The elders of the 9 sects were not fools. They did not expect Jiang Chen to be so capable. It goes without saying what a grandmaster alchemist meant. They did not want to offend Jiang Chen. They were even more willing to see Jiang Chen and Chu Yunji stand against each other. If that's the case, they would be the ones to benefit from it. Purple light pierces the sky. Black shadows fill the air. Let's call it the Purple Cloud Obsidian Sword. Jiang Chen held the Purple Cloud Obsidian Sword in his hand. He looked at Ling Yun with a gentle gaze. This sword was specially forged for her. Everyone, Jiang Chen was lucky enough to forge a mid-grade nascent divinity tool. I wonder how he compares to young master Chu Yunji? Jiang Chen's gaze was like a torch. He looked at Chu Yunji. At that moment, the 9 sects became silent. Chu Fengji also stared at Jiang Chen coldly. Jiang Chen, you cheated. How could you forge a nascent divinity tool? This is the 9 Pinnacles Mountain. Do you think you can escape from my eyes? You were able to survive such a terrifying lightning tribulation. Isn't that cheating? Do you think we're fools? Although your primordial spirit tool is slightly stronger than Yunji's primordial spirit tool, it was definitely not refined by yourself. It's even unknown whether you refined it or not. Maybe you used what you hid before to make up for it. Chu Fengji pointed at Jiang Chen and said with a gloomy expression. His face was filled with ferocity. Chu Fengji, you're slandering me. Ling Yanyu said angrily. Chu Fengji was completely distorting the truth. He actually went back on his words and said that Jiang Chen's nascent divinity tool was not forged by himself. That's true. How did he survive such a terrifying lightning trial? This is really unimaginable. Could it be that this isn't considered cheating? It seems like I've underestimated you. Jiang Chen, I thought you would have a fair fight with me. You actually used such a despicable method to win against me. I thought that if I won against you, we could work together to make a name for the Stellar Sky Domain and benefit the Stellar Sky Domain. I appreciate you, but you're so unsightly. Now, it seems like you're really a shameless person. I, Chu Yunji, actually wanted to team up with you. I'm so ashamed. Chu Yunji's face was full of anger. She spoke with great emotion and pushed Jiang Chen to the heart of the struggle. Such a shameless speech really changed Jiang Chen's view of the world. Chapter 2902. That's true. Jiang Chen, if you're really able to refine this Origin God tool, how did you manage to avoid the lightning calamity? Yeah, how do you explain the lightning calamity? You're not as skilled as others and yet you dare to resort to trickery. How despicable. You're the shit stirrer of the crafting world. Chu Wang and the others scolded Jiang Chen rudely, looking like a vile person intoxicated by success. In their point of view, the Origin Divine tool that Jiang Chen forged was completely prepared, and it was not really forged by him. Otherwise, how could they explain the lightning tribulation? Haha, what a good way to invert the truth. I, Jiang Chen, have finally witnessed the abilities of your blood tool sect. You can always find a way to pin a crime on someone. Isn't this the moment that you've been waiting for? Jiang Chen pointed his sword at the void as he stood proudly on the 9 Pinnacles Mountain. His aura suddenly rose and his gaze was like a sword as he looked disdainfully in all directions. You bunch of people are too shameless. You can't win against him, so you accuse my big brother of trickery. You're all bastards. Yu Er gritted her teeth as she looked at the people from the Blood Tool sect fiercely. The hatred in her heart was indescribable. Jiang Chen had already expected this. He could always find a way to pin a crime on someone. They did not want Jiang Chen to be able to refine the origin god tool. They only wanted Jiang Chen to lose so that the blood tool sect could rise. Jiang Chen's eyes were filled with killing intent. At this moment, he knew that he could only use his fists to solve the problem. In this world where the weak were prey to the strong, only the strong could be reasonable. The weak could only be trampled, be it in terms of body or dignity. However, at this moment, at the mouth of the volcano below the Nine Pinnacles Mountain, a gigantic flaming beast leaped up. The terrifying scorching waves caused Ling Yanyu and the rest to retreat continuously. The scorching waves, coupled with the glaring flames, made it impossible for anyone to see clearly what exactly it was. All they could see was a gigantic giant with purplish-red flames covering its head. It opened its bloody mouth and swallowed Jiang Chen in one gulp. That scene shocked the entire Nine Pinnacles Mountain. The people from the Blood Tool sect all knelt on the ground. Jiang Chen's figure had already disappeared from Nine Pinnacles Mountain. That is, Ling Yanyu's face was ashen. The flaming beast was so fast that no one had expected it. Moreover, Jiang Chen was caught off guard and was directly swallowed. This scene caused the people from the 10 great sects to secretly break out in cold sweat. It was as if they had experienced death and brushed shoulders with the god of death. That is our Nine Pinnacles Mountain's fire god. Since ancient times, the fire god has only appeared twice. The first time was hundreds of thousands of years ago, and the second time was even longer than that, millions of years ago. According to historical records, once the fire god appears, there will be millions of corpses and blood will flow for thousands of miles. He is our Nine Pinnacles Mountain's fire god. I never thought that he would actually exist. Chu Fengji said with a stern expression. The fire god lived under an active volcano and was rarely seen in hundreds of thousands of years. He did not expect it to appear at this moment. Most importantly, the fire god was so terrifying that he could not even muster the slightest bit of resistance. That was because the flaming beast was really too powerful. Even Ling Yanyu did not have the slightest bit of resistance because resistance was destined to be useless. That fire god had at least reached the martial supremacy realm. Although Ling Yanyu did not see it, he was extremely shocked. He knew that the flaming beast could easily swallow him in one gulp. No, at this moment, Yu Er and Ling Yun's eyes were filled with sorrow as they roared heartbreakingly. The fire god has appeared. Ha ha ha, this is what they mean by the evils we bring upon ourselves are the hardest to bear. Jiang Chen thought that by cheating, he could win against me? The fire god had seen everything. Jiang Chen, you are paying the price for your stupidity. Humph, Chu Yunji said with a smile. The scene just now could be said to have shocked the world. The temperature of the Nine Pinnacles Mountain instantly rose by tens of degrees. Countless disciples fainted from the surging heat wave. This is called retribution. Looks like we have underestimated the Blood Tool sect. Yeah, to think that the Blood Tool sect has a fire god. This is my first time hearing about it. The Blood Tool sect should not be underestimated. The elders of the 9 sects heaved a long sigh. Who would have thought that the arrogant Jiang Chen would be devoured by the fire god in a blink of an eye? Ling Yanyu of the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect's expression was extremely ugly. He could not compete with the fire god's mightiness at all. The elders of the 9 sects were still hesitating about which side to stand on. But now, it seemed like there was no need to say anything. It didn't matter if Jiang Chen was really a master craftsman or not. It didn't matter if he had the ability or not, because a dead man had no right to speak. Now this is the best outcome. It's a pity that the primordial divine tools and heavenly divine tools that Jiang Chen lost to me can only be given to the fire god. Chu Yunji sneered. She looked at Ling Yun with envy. Such a peerless beauty, one glance could topple a city, another glance could topple a country. She was going to be his woman. Sect Lord Ling, do you still stand by what we said earlier? Yunji should be qualified to marry Lady Yun Er now, right? Chu Yunji stared at Ling Yanyu and said fearlessly. Even though he was facing the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect's patriarch, a peak divine king, Chu Yunji still had his own pride. This battle would definitely make him famous in the stellar sky domain. What if I say no? Ling Yanyu said to Lang Lang. His eyes were filled with determination. Master. Ling Yun looked at Ling Yanyu, biting her red lips and said with an ugly expression. She had yet to wake up from Jiang Chen's death. Her master and the Blood Tool sect had once again stood on the opposite side. Sect Lord Ling, is this your sincerity? Looks like the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect wants to fight against my Blood Tool sect? Everything that we've agreed on has now become you breaking the agreement. Is this what you, Sect Lord Ling, would do? Chu Fengji said. That's what you guys said. Since when did I, Ling Yanyu, agree to marry my disciple to your Blood Tool sect? From the beginning to the end, it's just you guys being overbearing. I, Ling Yanyu, am a man of my words. However, if someone wants to force me, I, Ling Yanyu, will never agree to it. Ling Yanyu said with pride and determination. Even Ling Yun did not expect that her master would fight for his freedom. But this way, the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect and the Blood Tool sect were destined to go to war. Chapter 2903. Looks like you're really going to disregard the friendship between our two sects? Sect Lord Ling, haven't you thought about the result? Humph. My Blood Tool sect wanted to form a marriage alliance with you out of goodwill. Never did I expect that you would humiliate us like this. My Blood Tool sect will never agree to it. Chu Fengji and Ling Yanyu's eyes were already spewing flames of fury. The two of them stared at each other. It was likely that this battle was unavoidable. The Blood Tool sect wanted to establish their prestige, but the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect did not give them the chance to do so. Then, there will be a huge battle. Ling Yanyu was very determined. At this moment, he must not let his disciple fall into the hands of the Blood Tool sect. If that happens, the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect would lose their quota to enter Tongxian Mansion. His disciple would be disheartened. Even the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect's morale would fall because of this marriage alliance. This was something that Ling Yanyu did not want to face. The Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect was once one of the top 10 sections. But now, they had to bow down to a mere Blood Tool sect. Don't worry, I'm here. Ling Yanyu patted Ling Yun's shoulder. I, Ling Yanyu, have never suffered such humiliation in my entire life. I will accompany you to the end for today's battle. But if you want to marry my disciple, that's a different story. Ling Yanyu's expression was cold. Jiang Chen's death had affected him greatly. A man who had known his disciple for less than 10 years was willing to risk his life for Ling Yun, just to give her freedom. How could he, as a father and daughter who had 1,000 years of friendship with Ling Yun, remain indifferent? It's your disciple's fortune to be able to marry into my Blood Tool sect. It seems like Sect Lord Ling wants to fight with my Blood Tool sect. Then, I, Chu Fengji, will accompany you to the end. I will not agree to anyone who wants to take my Blood Tool sect as an example. After today's battle, the Blood Tool sect will definitely give sect leader Ling an explanation. Chu Fengji smiled at Lang Lang, and the smile on his face became more and more feminine. Although he was shocked by Ling Yanyu's reaction, he had already expected it. If Ling Yanyu wanted to resist, he would have to join forces with the other 9 sects to attack Ling Yanyu. It would not be easy for him to leave the 9 Pinnacles Mountain. All right, I, Ling Yan, will accompany you to the end. It was likely that sect head Chu had already prepared everything and was only lacking the final push. I, Ling Yanyu, want to see who can do anything to me. Ling Yanyu already knew that the Blood Tool sect would not let this battle go. The other 9 sects were already in cahoots with him. Only the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect did not like the Blood Tool sect. That was why Ling Yanyu pointed the spear at him. Ling Yun was just a pawn. Even without Ling Yun, there would be someone else. All right, you're indeed one of the top 3 experts in the stellar sky boundary. I, Chu Fengji, naturally know that I'm not sect leader Ling's opponent. However, aren't you a little too arrogant to challenge the Blood Tool sect and the other 9 sects? 9 sects? Humph. Didn't you guys already prepare for this? It's not that easy to push the Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect into a hopeless situation. Ling Yanyu looked down on everyone. The 10 sects were right in front of him, but he was the only one left. Sect leader Ling, why are you doing this? Everyone did not want to see such a scene. The rise of the Blood Tool sect is unstoppable, but you still want to face it head-on. Although the Blood Tool sect's foundation is not as strong as your Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect, the influence of their 2 grandmasters is not something that your Earthly Fire Heavenly Lightning sect possesses. A marriage is a good thing. Why do you have to go to war? Why don't you bury the hatchet and make peace? You can't win this battle. The Qi Transformation sect's elder sighed. That's right, sect leader Ling. It's not good for everyone if you insist on going all out. It's just a marriage. Everyone should be happy. But you're still so stubborn. The earthly fire heavenly lightning sect will definitely be destroyed in your hands. The divine puppet sect's elder also tried to persuade Ling Yanyu. I, Ling Yanyu, have been unstoppable my entire life. Today's matter must be carried out. I, Ling Yanyu, can die, but the dignity of the earthly fire heavenly lightning sect shall not be trampled on. A mere blood tool sect wants to shit on my head? I will definitely fight to the end. Everyone, you don't have to say any more. I know that you guys are already prepared for this battle, but I, Ling Yanyu, will not frown. Ling Yanyu said in a heroic manner. Ling Yun silently looked at her high-spirited master. Going against the top 10 sects by himself, she could not imagine how much pressure he had to face. However, her heart was burning with passion. Who can defeat the heavenly star hero? Only Yang Yuan and Zhao Wuji. As for the others, I, Ling Yanyu, do not put them in my eyes. Who dares to fight me? Ling Yanyu held the bolting lightning dual cloud truncheons in his hand. His eyes were like the northern lights, looking down on the heavens. His aura was like that of a tiger. Good. What a tragedy. Sect leader Ling, my blood tool sect will fight to the death with you today. Chu Fengji's eyes were sharp as he stared at Ling Yanyu. With a wave of his hand, the divine king realm elders of the 9 great sects and the 10 great elders of his own sect also came out. The entire 9 Pinnacles mountain was in a state of panic. Beneath the 9 Pinnacles mountain, the volcano was erupting, the lava was rolling and the waves were monstrous. However, Jiang Chen could not feel anything other than the heat. The heat was even stronger than his 5 elemental true fire. If it wasn't for the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, Jiang Chen would have been engulfed by the heat. This is an ancient fire mastiff beast. The fire Qilin's voice resounded in Jiang Chen's mind. Ancient fire mastiff beast? Jiang Chen frowned and his expression changed. Gulp. Gulp. That's right, it's the primordial mastiff beast. I learned about it from my inherited memories. The rarity of the primordial mastiff beast is even greater than us Qilins. They devour the heavens, devour the earth, devour dragons. In short, there's nothing they don't eat. In the history of the ancient fire mastiff beast, it devoured the fire dragon king of the dragon clan. This fella's fire attribute was extremely strong. Even the fire dragon king's origin true fire couldn't do anything to it. In the end, it was devoured by the ancient fire mastiff beast. It likes to eat fire-attributed demonic beasts, divine weapons and treasures. It can eat any metal. We're still in the ancient fire mastiff beast's stomach. We need to get out as soon as possible. Otherwise, even primordial divine weapons would be digested by it. The fire Qilin's words seemed to be filled with shock towards the ancient fire mastiff beast. This ancient fire mastiff beast has probably devoured your fire Qilin clan before. Jiang Chen said softly. The fire Qilin remained silent. However, he had already admitted it. In short, the ancient fire mastiff beast was unimaginably terrifying. I don't believe that I can't break open its stomach. Jiang Chen snorted coldly. Holding the purple cloud obsidian sword in his hand, he slashed out. His aura swallowed the heavens, but he was still unable to break open the ancient fire mastiff beast's stomach. Jiang Chen used the heavenly dragon sword and slashed out again. In the end, it only left a shallow mark on the ancient fire mastiff beast's body. Motherfucker! Jiang Chen cursed. Even the heavenly dragon sword couldn't break open this fella's body. Just how strong was it? Chapter 2904. The heavenly dragon sword is hard and strong, but the body of the fire mastiff is hard and soft. It can't be broken at all. Even the terrifying power of the heavenly dragon sword has been reduced by 70 to 80%, so it can't be broken at all. Jiang Chen thought in his heart and his expression was extremely solemn. The heavenly dragon sword rarely failed, but this time, it couldn't even break the internal organs of the fire mastiff. It really shocked Jiang Chen. At this moment, the fire Qilin also appeared beside Jiang Chen. Do you know the weakness of the fire mastiff? Jiang Chen asked. The fire mastiff is a fierce beast, a descendant of the ancient god clan. It is rumored that it has devoured meteorites and the dragon clan. There is nothing in the world that it doesn't eat. Moreover, its body has an extremely strong acid that can even corrode primordial spirit tools. The fire mastiff is also a treasure. Its body is enough to refine a divine weapon, and its body is indestructible. But its weakness? I don't know, or it has no weakness at all. The fire Qilin also said helplessly. At this time, they were swallowed into the stomach of the fire mastiff, but they still couldn't break the internal organs of this guy to escape. The temperature of its body has reached a peak. I can only use divine origin power to resist it. At most, I can hold on for 6 hours. Jiang Chen said in a low voice. If he couldn't break the body of the fire mastiff in 6 hours, then even the myriad chi body would not be able to save him. Because this temperature was enough to melt anything. If the acid in the body of the fire mastiff started to flow, then the corrosive acid would make Jiang Chen face a life-and-death situation. Jiang Chen and the fire Qilin studied countless methods. 4 hours had passed, but it was still useless. Jiang Chen still couldn't break the internal defense of the fire mastiff. Is it really going to be melted by this fire mastiff? Back then, the fire dragon king of the dragon clan died in the hands of the fire mastiff. It seems that there is no other way. The fire Qilin said in a trembling voice. He looked at Jiang Chen, and Jiang Chen's face was also solemn. Look, what is that? What a pungent smell. The fire Qilin widened its eyes and rapidly retreated. The corrosive acid that continuously flowed out from the fire mastiff's body also began to spread towards them. 5 elemental trigram fire formation. 12 fire god guards. Jiang Chen summoned the 12 fire god guards and sealed his surroundings. The 12 fire god guards used the 5 elemental trigram fire formation as the foundation to protect Jiang Chen. However, the pungent acid flowed over bit by bit. The legs of the 12 fire god guards were all corroded by the acid, from their ankles to their calves. Jiang Chen's expression changed completely. Was this guy really so terrifying? The acid in their stomachs was something that even a primordial divine artifact couldn't resist. Moreover, it was almost like breaking dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. The legs of the 12 fire god guards were completely corroded. Holy shit! This is too terrifying. Jiang Chen couldn't help but curse. He had never encountered such a terrifying thing. This fire mastiff was definitely a rather difficult thing to deal with. Even the acid in its body could easily corrode a primordial divine artifact. Jiang Chen couldn't help but wonder if a primordial divine artifact could resist the acid in the fire mastiff's body. Jiang Chen quickly kept the 12 fire god guards. Right now, the 12 fire god guards were completely crippled. Their 24 legs were all corroded by the acid. Damn it! I never dreamed that the Eastern Emperor Bell would save my life at this time. Dong Huang Taiyi once said that the Eastern Emperor Bell could help him complete a directional transmission. At the critical moment, it was equivalent to giving him an extra life. It would be easy for him to escape. However, Jiang Chen never expected that he would be swallowed into the stomach of the fire mastiff at this time. He originally thought that this directional transmission could help him get rid of a greater danger. However, when the acid corroded the calves of the 12 fire god guards, Jiang Chen knew that he had no way out. Eastern Emperor Bell, it's up to you now. Jiang Chen took out the Eastern Emperor Bell. His eyes focused and he activated the divine bell. In the next second, Jiang Chen and the fire Qilin appeared in the scarlet magma. Under their feet, magma was everywhere. As for him, he stood in a place where there were very few flames. Although he was far away from the magma, the blazing temperature still made his entire body extremely painful. Compared to the stomach of the fire mastiff, this damned place was not much better. Jiang Chen and the fire Qilin could only use their divine origin energy to resist. This was because their resistance to fire was much stronger than ordinary people. If it was an ordinary person, it would be hard for them to even have 10 breaths of time in this place of death. We're finally out. Jiang Chen raised his eyes and looked up. Above the void, it was filled with flames. However, he knew that they were already out of the stomach of the fire mastiff. However, they couldn't directly teleport out of this damned 9-furnace volcano. Instead, they were trapped here. How is this possible? You're still not dead after being eaten by me? A furious voice was heard, causing Jiang Chen's heart to tremble. He immediately turned around and saw a gigantic unicorn. Its body was fat, but it was sturdy like a diamond. Its eyes were burning with flames, and it was staring at Jiang Chen. Fire Mastiff Beast? Jiang Chen narrowed his eyes. This fire mastiff beast had a single horn on its head. It was 10 feet tall and its entire body was burning with flames. It was even more ferocious than the fire Qilin. Its fangs were 3 feet long and flames were rising from its nose. Its 4 legs were on the ground. However, every leg was a fiery red golden hook. It was abnormally sharp and carried with it a raging fire. Its eyes were about to completely burn. I like your body. If I want to eat you, you won't be able to escape. The fire mastiff beast gloomily stared at Jiang Chen with endless greed. The fire mastiff beast was extremely surprised that Jiang Chen could escape. However, it would not let a cooked duck escape from its mouth. But you might not be able to eat me, Jiang Chen said coldly. This fella is too strong. Jiang Chen, let's go. The fire Qilin gritted his teeth and said. The fear in his heart had made him lose his fighting spirit. There's even a fire Qilin. What a delicacy. The fire mastiff beast muttered. The fire Qilin gritted his teeth in anger. However, he knew that even if his strength was on par with the fire mastiff beast, he might not be able to defeat it. It's quite strong, Jiang Chen said in a low voice. Even the corner of his mouth was a little dry. His heart was in turmoil. If his soul realm had not reached the Emperor realm, Jiang Chen would not even know how terrifying this fella was. Late Hierarch realm. Compared to the Reverend Lord who wanted to kill and rob him, this fella's strength was much stronger. Moreover, it was a true late Hierarch realm. Jiang Chen instantly lost his fighting spirit just like the fire Qilin. They should not be thinking about fighting but how to escape. What are you waiting for? Run. As soon as Jiang Chen finished speaking, he started running towards the Nine Pinnacles mountain. In order to resist the terrifying flames, he had used up a lot of his divine origin energy. However, before Jiang Chen and the fire Qilin could run more than 100 feet away, they were stopped by the fire mastiff beast. With a terrifying speed, the fire mastiff beast appeared in front of Jiang Chen and the fire Qilin. Its giant claws smashed down. It was just a simple attack, but it had already given Jiang Chen a headache. Chapter 2905. The fire mastiff's claw tore through the void. Jiang Chen used the Great Void technique to dodge, but his escape route was still blocked by the fire mastiff. As the claw smashed down, Jiang Chen blocked it with his sword, but he was instantly sent flying. The fire Qilin's condition was not any better than him. Its entire body was heavily injured. This was no longer a question of whether it could fight or not, but whether it could run away. Dragon transformation. Ancient soaring dragon technique. Jiang Chen used the dragon transformation and ancient soaring dragon technique consecutively. At that moment, the fire mastiff was slightly stunned. Then it sneered. You can be considered as half of the dragon race. My favorite food is dragon race beasts. Qilin is not bad too. Jiang Chen's strength had reached an unprecedented peak, comparable to a peak divine king. With the heavenly dragon sword in his hand, he used the limitless sword, advancing step by step. However, the fire mastiff was too strong. In less than 5 rounds, Jiang Chen was struck down. His face was pale and blood was spurting out from his mouth. I also like your sword very much. If I eat you as well, I might be able to improve my strength. Breaking through to the half-step divine emperor is not impossible. The fire mastiff's eyes kept darting around, as if it was thinking of how to use Jiang Chen and the sword in his hand. In Jiang Chen's heart, there were thousands of horses galloping madly. This was a fucking rare monster. He even wanted to eat the heavenly dragon sword. However, Jiang Chen was defeated too quickly. His opponent's strength was like the difference between heaven and earth. Jiang Chen finally believed the saying that in the face of absolute strength, all techniques were useless. The fire Qilin could not be counted on. Even Jiang Chen did not expect the fire Qilin to be suppressed so miserably by the fire mastiff. Even his breathing became uneven. This was the might of a king among the beasts. As one of the strongest fire Qilin in the Qilin clan, even he was afraid of this fire mastiff. Was this guy really that terrifying? I hope you won't be burnt to a crisp by my flames. As the fire mastiff spoke, a mouthful of flames shot out from its mouth. The purplish-red flames caused Jiang Chen to feel an indescribable fear. 5 elements true fire. Jiang Chen summoned the 5 elemental true fire, but the 5 elemental true fire was almost instantly assimilated by the fire mastiff beast's volcano, as though it had been completely devoured. Jiang Chen kept retreating as the flames enveloped his entire body. Fire snakes spurted out, but when they came into contact with the surrounding stone walls, they instantly turned into flying ash. Divine Golden Bell. God Sealing Restriction. Jiang Chen used the Eastern Emperor Limitless Art, But the Eastern Emperor Bell still couldn't block the terrifying flames. The flames burned, causing Jiang Chen's divine origin energy to burn. Jiang Chen could only retreat again and again. The flames aren't bad, and your abilities aren't bad either. Unfortunately, you're not my opponent. You're too weak, too weak. The fire mastiff spat out another mouthful of purplish-red flames, wanting to engulf Jiang Chen and the fire Qilin. Jiang Chen retreated into the Zulong Tower. The flames enveloped the Zulong Tower, but the Zulong Tower blocked the fire mastiff beast's attack. What a strange pagoda. This thing is the same as the sword in that human's hand. They're all rare treasures. The fire mastiff beast muttered to itself. Jiang Chen sat on the Zulong Tower, drenched in sweat. He was almost burned to death by the fire mastiff beast's flames. He played with eagles all day, but his eyes were pecked out by an eagle. If he really died under the fire mastiff beast's flames, Jiang Chen would feel rather sullen. This fellow is too abnormal. Jiang Chen panted heavily. Between life and death, he felt as though he had just survived a calamity. The Zulong Tower blocked the fire mastiff beast's flames, but Jiang Chen could feel that the temperature within the Zulong Tower was constantly rising. Do you think I won't be able to do anything to you if you hide in the tower? The fire mastiff beast stared at the Zulong Tower. Roar! The fire mastiff beast roared angrily as blazing flames spewed out of its mouth. Although its flames weren't able to melt the Zulong Tower, it caused the temperature within the Zulong Tower to reach an unprecedented height. This damned fellow. Jiang Chen's expression was extremely ugly. At this time, he could only summon Red Lotus. He didn't know much about this fellow. It was simply a fool's dream to deal with this fire mastiff beast based on the bits and pieces of the fire Qilin's inherited memories. Red Lotus. Jiang Chen summoned Red Lotus from the depths of his soul. Fire mastiff beast. How did you provoke this thing? Red Lotus's expression changed drastically. Like a fire lotus fairy, her fiery figure silently stared at the fire mastiff beast outside the Zulong Tower. You recognize him? What should we do? How can we escape from this fire mastiff beast? Jiang Chen asked anxiously. You overestimate me. This fellow is already nearing maturity. A mature fire mastiff beast can swallow a great emperor expert in one gulp. Red Lotus's solemn expression made Jiang Chen's heart boil. This fellow's terror was self-evident. Even Red Lotus was somewhat wary of him. Even you don't have a solution? Jiang Chen sighed. It's not that there's no solution. We can only use violence to counter violence. If my Red Lotus karmic fire can fight the fire mastiff beast to a draw, we might have a chance of survival. Red Lotus whispered. The best outcome is for you to fight to a draw? Although Red Lotus did not say it clearly, her chances were no more than 30 to 40%. Jiang Chen was well aware of this. The fire mastiff beast is an ancient divine beast and a descendant of the god clan. Even the dragon clan has to respect it. In ancient times, many beasts were stronger than the dragon clan. It's just that the ancestral dragon emperor of the dragon clan opened up a path for them. The true battle power of the dragon clan relies on the accumulation of numbers. Because the ancient divine beasts are even rarer than the dragon clan. Some were even born at the beginning of the primordial chaos. There are only one or two of them. This fire mastiff beast is one of them. Its ancestor is the fire god, Zhurong. The blood of the fire god flows in his body. Otherwise, why do you think his flames are so terrifying? Even your 5 elemental true fire is slightly inferior. Who in the world can match it? If that's the case, then if I can obtain the beast fire origin in his body, it might allow my 5 elemental true fire to evolve. Jiang Chen's eyes blazed as he stared at the fire mastiff beast outside the Zulong Tower. We are food in his mouth now. You actually want to devour him. Humph, what a fool's dream. Don't place too much hope on me. I will run away on my own at the crucial moment. Red Lotus said coldly. Jiang Chen looked at Red Lotus anxiously. However, Red Lotus did not seem like she would leave easily. Although Jiang Chen did not know much about her, Red Lotus was not someone who was afraid of death. The descendant of the fire god, Zhurong? God clan. Is there really a god clan in the god world? Jiang Chen murmured. Chapter 2906. The god race is only a legend, but legends are not necessarily false. Whether they exist or not is impossible to verify. The god world has existed for far too long, so long that tens of thousands of years can pass in the blink of an eye. However, the fire god Zhurong really existed. This fire mastiff is the descendant of the fire god Zhurong. In my memory fragments, the fire god seems to be one of the strongest gods in the world. Hong Lian said with a frown. No matter what, this fellow's flames are not something my 5 elemental true fire can contend against. You are my only hope now. Jiang Chen shrugged and said, showing a stance of if I die together, he would perish together with you. I can only do my best. Hong Lian said indifferently. Jiang Chen and the Fire Qilin placed their last hope on Hong Lian. On top of the ancestral dragon pagoda, a blood-red lotus slowly rose. Fiery light soared to the sky and converged together. On top of the fiery lotus, Red Lotus was like a goddess from the 9 heavens, standing proudly in front of the pagoda. Red Lotus Hellfire? The fire mastiff's eyes suddenly froze, as if it was staring at Hong Lian rather fearfully. Unfortunately, you are not mature yet. After a while, the fire mastiff said coldly. Aren't you the same? Hong Lian and the fire mastiff stared at each other, not giving way. But it is enough to deal with you. Father once said that the Red Lotus Hellfire is the only flame that can contend against my bestial fire. Unfortunately, you are not strong enough and can only be devoured by me. I never thought that my strongest bestial fire would not be that human, but the Red Lotus Hellfire. The fire mastiff looked at Hong Lian greedily, wanting to swallow her whole. You want to devour me? Let's see if you have the ability. Hong Lian and the fire mastiff faced each other, the flames in their eyes intertwining, showing no signs of backing down. However, it was clear that the fire mastiff was also slightly afraid of the Red Lotus Hellfire. I'll let you know that the strongest fire in this world is the primary beast fire of my fire mastiff beast. After devouring your comic fire of the Red Lotus, I'll definitely reach the martial emperor realm within 1,000 years. The mastiff fire beast's greed was clearly expressed in its words. Its eyes were filled with blazing flames. Their gazes continued to meet, and every time they met, flames would rise. Their surroundings were filled with endless flames. There were no fancy moves in their battle, nor were there any life or death battles. There was only the struggle of flames. Whoever's flames were stronger would be able to suppress the other. The Red Lotus comic flame's expression grew increasingly grave. The flames around the two of them caused Jiang Chen to be overwhelmed with shock. These two fellows were extraordinarily terrifying. Hong Lian has reached the hierarch realm. Jiang Chen was a little shocked. However, it made sense. If she did not have the strength of a hierarch realm, she might not stand a chance against the fire mastiff beast. Jiang Chen's eyes turned red. Their divine souls kept intertwining. That was the test of the soul fire. However, Jiang Chen could see that Hong Lian was obviously at a disadvantage in the battle against the fire mastiff beast. Her strength was much weaker than the fire mastiff beast. The fire mastiff beast had reached the late hierarch realm battle strength, and the primary beast fire in its body had reached the pinnacle. If we were at the same level, your karmic fire of the Red Lotus might be stronger than mine. However, you're too weak now. Accept my judgment. After devouring you, I'll unleash the karmic fire of the Red Lotus to the extreme. The fire mastiff beast sneered and opened its mouth, wanting to devour Hong Lian. Hong Lian kept retreating. Her pretty face was extremely pale. She had no way out now. The fire mastiff beast's primary beast fire kept expanding, forcing her karmic fire of the Red Lotus to shrink. You're indeed the descendant of the fire god Zhurong. Your primary beast fire is so terrifying. Jiang Chen murmured. At that moment, he could feel Hong Lian's danger. The fire mastiff beast was too terrifying. It had the battle strength of a late hierarch realm and possessed the primary beast fire that was comparable to the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. Jiang Chen even guessed that an ordinary divine emperor might not be able to defeat the fire mastiff beast. He recalled that he was almost killed when he fought against a middle hierarch realm reverend of the 9 boundaries. He had used all his strength to escape. He would definitely lose against the fire mastiff beast. There was no chance for him to win. Jiang Chen's heart trembled as Red Lotus was constantly being pushed back by the fire mastiff beast. Even Hong Lian was not his match? How could he break through the siege of the fire mastiff beast? Jiang Chen's heart was filled with endless anger and struggle. This was the biggest crisis he had ever faced since he entered the divine world. Moreover, he couldn't just watch Red Lotus die for him. Go. It'll be too late if we don't leave now. I'll hold him back. Hong Lian yelled without any fear. She was being pushed back by the fire mastiff beast, but she was not afraid at all. How can I leave? Jiang Chen smiled bitterly and shook his head. He was struggling in his heart. Jiang Chen could not let Red Lotus stay and be devoured by the fire mastiff beast. Go. You'll die if you keep talking nonsense. Hong Lian's eyes were filled with determination. He was the only successor of the craftsman god. He must not die here. Even if she had to fight with her body, she must help Jiang Chen escape. Currently, Red Lotus had nowhere to run. She was dying slowly. She might not be as lucky as Jiang Chen once she was devoured by the fire mastiff beast. Jiang Chen was not willing to let Red Lotus die for him. As a man, he must not sit and wait for death. Cold River Stone. Yes, it's the Cold River Stone. A glimmer of hope suddenly rose in Jiang Chen's heart. The destructive ice god's divine emperor weapon was at least a primal origin treasure. However, Jiang Chen's strength was not strong enough. He would need to reach the hierarch realm before he could use it. However, his spiritual strength had reached the emperor realm. Jiang Chen knew that this was his last and only hope. Even though his soul had not fully recovered and his strength was only at the divine king realm, he would still watch Red Lotus die if he did not take this gamble. And all of this was because of him. Even if Jiang Chen were to die, he would not want to bear the burden of this friendship and owe someone, especially at a time like this. Jiang Chen would never leave. Cold River Stone, it's all up to you now. Jiang Chen held the Cold River Stone in his hand. His eyes were filled with determination. Even if he had to die, he must not retreat. How could a man let a woman stand in front of him and die for him? If so, Jiang Chen knew that he would never be able to surpass his peak in his entire life. You're crazy, Jiang Chen. You don't even have the strength to use the Cold River Stone. This is not the Heavenly Dragon Sword. It might backfire on you. The Cold River Stone is a peerless divine weapon of the ancient god emperor. Without the strength of a hierarch realm, you can't even touch it. Even if you reach the hierarch realm, you still have to be careful. Fire Qilin was speechless. I would rather die than stand behind a woman and cower. The word man is not just for show. Chapter 2907. The Fire Qilin stared at Jiang Chen silently. He knew that Jiang Chen had no other way out now. If he did not do this, they could only resign themselves to death. This was their final hope. If they lost, they would be consigned to eternal damnation, sinking deep into the abyss of death. Despite knowing that there was a tiger in the mountains, he still chose to advance. This was a fearless spirit and a resolute attitude. The Fire Qilin knew that with Jiang Chen's personality, he definitely would not abandon the Fire Lotus and flee alone. He would rather die in battle than owe others, especially women. From the moment he decided to follow Jiang Chen, he deeply understood Jiang Chen's personality. Otherwise, with the Fire Qilin's pride, why would he willingly serve Jiang Chen? You should go. I can't guarantee that we'll definitely win this battle. Jiang Chen glanced at the Fire Qilin. I won't go. The Fire Qilin also shook his head, extremely determined. There's no meaning to a pointless sacrifice. Jiang Chen said nonchalantly as he stared at the fire mastiff. He already had nowhere else to retreat. He could only fight with his back to the wall. You can be fearless for your friends, but how can I, the Fire Qilin, be afraid of death? Ha ha ha, Jiang Chen, you underestimate me too much. The greatest glory of my Fire Qilin clan is not the extraordinary talent of a divine beast, but the dignity of a divine beast. Our heads can be chopped off, our blood can flow, but our dignity cannot be thrown away. The Fire Qilin's determination touched Jiang Chen. He could not say anything else, because if he did, it would be an extreme insult to the Fire Qilin. Good brother. Although the Fire Qilin could not help Jiang Chen at all in this battle, he gave him great encouragement. It made Jiang Chen's heart as firm as a boulder. Bastard, why aren't you leaving? What are you waiting for? Hong Lian roared furiously. Her face was pale and her eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. She did not know why she was risking her life like this. Was it for Jiang Chen? Or was it for the legacy left behind by the craftsman god who had been dead for tens of thousands of years? But Jiang Chen didn't care at all. He didn't want to leave at all. This isn't loyalty, it's stupidity. Hong Lian's eyes were practically spitting fire, but she was unable to control Jiang Chen because he had already charged over. This was a battle between martial supremacies. For someone of his strength, it was a complete massacre. Then I'll be stupid for once. Jiang Chen smiled calmly and fearlessly as he charged into the sky. Flames surged and shot in all directions, causing the air to explode. Foolish and ignorant fellow, this will be your final choice. Unfortunately, you are stubborn. Perhaps this is a gift from the heavens to me. Ha! The fire mastiff let out an ear-piercing sneer. Its body trembled as a terrifying wave of fire surged into the sky, almost incinerating the surrounding space. Hong Lian was forced back time and time again. Her complexion was extremely ugly. There was nothing she could do to reverse the situation. She no longer had any ability to turn the tide. Although her karmic fire of the Red Lotus was powerful, the fire mastiff's original beast flame was inherited from the fire god Zhurong of the primordial god race. It was extraordinary and not much weaker than her own karmic fire of the Red Lotus. In particular, her strength was completely suppressed by him. Turning defeat into victory was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Cold River Stone. Activate. Jiang Chen wielded the Cold River Stone. It was as heavy as a titan and as cold as an iceberg. In that instant, a terrifying chill descended upon the peak of the volcano. Cold River Stone? What a familiar name. The fire mastiff murmured. There was an unknown existence like this in its inherited memories. Cold River Stone. The destructive ice god's peerless emperor weapon. The fire mastiff's expression turned solemn. In the next instant, the entire Nine Pinnacles Mountains volcano was filled with the piercing chill of the Cold River Stone. The temperature of the Nine Pinnacles mountain plummeted. The chill spread with Jiang Chen at the center. Jiang Chen held the Cold River Stone in his hand and descended upon the world like an unparalleled king. The terrifying chill was like a substantial rain of arrows, heading straight for the fire mastiff. The powerful chill caused the fire mastiff's expression to change drastically. I never expected you to possess the destructive ice god's peerless emperor weapon. Unfortunately, with your strength, you can't unleash its full power. Even with the peerless emperor weapon, you still can't defeat me. The fire mastiff was full of confidence. Although he was shocked, he did not panic. He knew how powerful Jiang Chen was. It was not easy for him to control such a huge and powerful peerless emperor weapon. It was impossible for him to do so without reaching the martial honor realm. If he was not careful, he might even injure himself and suffer a backlash. You're crazy, bastard. Hong Lian gritted her teeth. Her beautiful eyes flickered with worry. With Jiang Chen's current strength, he could not use the power of the Cold River Stone at all. Even she could not do so. Although she had the strength of a hierarch, the Cold River Stone's attribute was the exact opposite of hers. It would be impossible for Jiang Chen to use the Cold River Stone. Even if Jiang Chen did not reject the Cold River Stone, the 5 elemental true fire in his body would be suppressed to the limit. It might even be devoured by the Cold River Stone. The moment Jiang Chen turned his head, his life had been decided. It could be said that he would definitely die. There was no turning back. However, because of this, Hong Lian was even more furious. She had risked her life, but he still turned his head. The moment he turned his head, Hong Lian's heart was filled with joy and sorrow. This is how a person should live his life. If he is not crazy, he will not survive. The smile on Jiang Chen's face remained as calm as ever. Even in a life-or-death situation like this, he did not even frown. Just as Hong Lian thought, the 5 elemental true fire in his body had been suppressed to the limit by the Cold River Stone. There was only a tiny spark left, and it seemed like it was about to be extinguished. Even the fire origin of the 5 elemental true fire was not enough to resist the power of the Cold River Stone. Jiang Chen shivered inside. Nothing was more important than surviving this battle. The streams of coldness rapidly approached the fire mastiff. The fire mastiff also fought with everything it had. Even a lion needed to use its full strength to catch a rabbit, not to mention the Cold River Stone before it. The fire mastiff felt a sliver of danger. Although Jiang Chen was unable to truly activate the Cold River Stone and unleash its true power, there was nothing wrong with being cautious. Jiang Chen wielded the Cold River Stone. The mountain of coldness pressed down as the streams of coldness lingered around Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen had turned into a god of destruction and threw a punch. Coldness surged into the air as the fire mastiff roared furiously. Tongues of fire spewed out, wreaking havoc in the surroundings. The coldness and tongues of fire constantly intertwined. Jiang Chen was forced back time and time again, and his expression became uglier and uglier. The fire mastiff's resistance had a crucial effect at this moment. Even the surrounding temperature constantly rose and changed. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.